Well, hello there. Hello there. How's everybody doing? David, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's up? What's up? Just sending out the links. Sending out the links here.
Base it. Well, hello everybody and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. Welcome to the Prophet Show. Today we are alive to talk about a multitude of multitudes. And those multitudes include certain things that are currently going on in Syria. David, do you know what's going on in Syria?
Some sort of bloodbath. That's all about all I know. Some sort of bloodbath. But what do we expect with a bunch of Sunni jihadis going up against a bunch of previous generation Shia jihadis, and then you've always got a ton of people caught right in the middle of Islam's violent clashes with itself.
Yeah, well, the thing is, so I had great hopes that this new government that has just defeated the Assad regime and taken over would be a very, very peaceful government. I had big hopes. That this Islamist government was going to be like very, very peaceful and was going to bring a bright future to Syria.
Yeah, because that's how they acted. Remember that? They're like,
yeah.
oh yes, we're gonna make an awesome government. It's gonna be good for all, and we're not gonna be doing the jihad that you think we will. We will not be doing all the jihading that you think we're going to be doing the jihading because we all come from jihadi groups. But no, it will be different. We want to make good, strong Western nation.
Alhamdulillah. Of course, that's all nonsense. David and I were among many others who. Even then, when the assault began of this organization, of the current leader Jolani and the others to take over, we said that this is not going into a good direction and that this is an Islamist terrorist organization that is taking over, and that this Islamist terrorist organization is not going to be nice, it's not going to be kind, that they are going to be oppressors and so on. We said it a long time ago.
Yeah.
And some people were like, no, they're different. No, they're not different.
Yeah, and we had the ongoing issue of people will point out, hey, what a dirtbag Assad was. And we pointed out, guys, definitely did some super slimy, evil things. The dude is a dictator, but people keep making the same mistakes in Middle Eastern nations. Get rid of the dictator, and then freedom and democracy will come. And no, you get rid of the dictator, and you get a bunch of jihadis scrambling for power and destroying everything in the population. Right.
Yeah.
It's exactly what happened in Iraq. Get rid of Saddam, and then peace and democracy will flourish. And you got ISIS is what you got.
Yeah, as sad as the situation was when there was a dictatorship that was working on behalf of Russia and putting people in their place and in camps and torturing them and so on. The jihadists, did people really not see that coming? It's just so ridiculous.
Yeah. And by the way, here's what's really messed up. It's the exact same problem. What's called the source of this problem? It's the exact same thing that causes Europeans to want to bring in millions of people from the other parts of the world. It's become ingrained in the Western mind that human beings are all the same and they all just want freedom and democracy and stuff. It took many generations to get the kind of people who really loved freedom and democracy and celebrating human rights and so on. It took a long time to get people to that mentality. But then once you got that mentality, everyone in your society is like that. And then you make the huge mistake of thinking, since everyone I see is like that, therefore everyone in the world is like that. And they made that mistake. People around the world just want freedom and democracy. Who's keeping it from them? Evil dictators. What should we do? Get rid of the evil dictator. Freedom and democracy will flourish. Again, we have that mentality, and it's the same mentality of, hey, let's bring in all these people from Pakistan. Yeah, they say they want to bang our little 12-year-old daughters and stuff like that. But once they experience the freedom and democracy, they'll say, this is what we're really looking for, not the 12-year-old girls. And so they just keep bringing them in, and finding out, wait a minute, they don't think like us. They don't have the same goals as us. They don't want the same things as us. And this doesn't seem to be leading to a greater appreciation for freedom and democracy. So that's what we do over here. But then we do the same thing in other countries, we say, hey, let's just get rid of the evil dictator and freedom and democracy will flourish because all the people there are just like us and they all just want freedom and democracy. And so we get rid of the dictator and they instantly start blowing each other up. And we're like, hey, wait a minute. That's weird that you're doing that, considering you just want freedom and democracy. And now you're all just slaughtering everyone from being in the wrong group.
Yeah, they're not like us. They're not like us, and people need to understand that. This is what happens this is what happened in the UK. You have a whole nation that invites all kinds of different people from around the world, from a different culture, overthinking they're like us. In fact, they're not like us, and then suddenly you have an artificially created Epstein's Island right there in the middle of Europe. So very, very bad. Before looking at multiple other things, I want to look at. Wait a minute, this is not. Oh yeah, I was here. I was over here. This is my screen.
Embarrassing.
I was going to read a statement that I didn't read before, which is issued by the Christian Patriarchs of Syria. A joint statement. It says, joint statement by the Patriarchs in Syria. La 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 la. Let me see. All right. In recent days, Syria has witnessed a dangerous escalation of violence, brutality, and killings, resulting in attacks on innocent civilians, including women and children. Homes have been violated, their sanctity disregarded, and properties looted. Scenes that starkly reflect the immense suffering endured by the Syrian people. The Christian churches, while strongly condemning any act that threatens civil peace, denounce and condemn the massacres targeting innocent civilians and call for an immediate end to those horrific acts, which stand in stark opposition to all human and moral values. The churches also call for the swift creation of conditions conducive to achieving national reconciliation among the Syrian people. They urge efforts to establish an environment that facilitates the transition to a state that respects all its citizens and lays the foundation for a society based on equal citizenship and genuine partnership, free from the logic of vengeance and exclusion. At the same time, they reaffirm the unity of Syrian territory and reject any attempts to divide it. The churches call on all concerned parties within Syria to assume their responsibilities, put an end to the violence, and seek peaceful solutions that uphold human dignity and preserve national unity. We pray that God may protect Syria and its people, and that peace may prevail throughout the land. That is John the 10th, I assume, not John X, Greek Orthodox Patriarch of Antioch and all the East, More Ignatius Ephraim II, Syriac Patriarch of Antioch and all the East, and Yosef Absi Melkite Greek Catholic Patriarch of Antioch and all the East.
Right. It would be cool if his name was John X.
I know.
Hey,
that'd be interesting.
Hey, so let me see if I got this. Let me see if I got this right. Syria was just taken over by Islamists with backgrounds in a lot of jihadi groups. And the church here is saying, we want a society founded on equality of all citizens.
Yes.
Wait, hang on. Let me repeat that. Because I'm confused here. Hang on. The country was just taken over by jihadis, by Islamists, by people who want to install their particular brand of Islam. And these guys come from a bunch of terrorist groups. They just took over Syria. And so they want to impose Islamic law. They want to impose Sharia. And you're saying that the churches are saying, hey, we want a society based on equality of all citizens. Is that what I just said?
Pretty much.
Is that what that's what we just heard?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think one of these two groups is going to get what they want. So you've got the jihadis who want to impose Islamic law, and you've got the Christians who want equality of all citizens. One of these groups is not going to get what it wants, I have to sadly predict. And I have to sadly predict that it will be the Christians who do not get what they want here.
I would assume that the Islamist response to this will be pretty much, okay, that's very cute, but we don't care.
Yeah.
So,
Did a bunch of equality seeking peacekeepers show up to conquer your country? Is that what you think just happened?
yes, that's what happened. Anyway, with David's complete disrespect of the Christian churches here, let's return to the actual case. There's something very funny here to me, which is that the Israeli minister, the Israeli defense minister, new defense minister Katz says calls new Syria president an Al Qaeda terrorist after reports of Alawites executed. It took them a little bit long to have this reaction to the new Syrian government. Like you had some Israelis jumping in and say, we hope that this will result in a peaceful resolution for Syria. Right.
Yeah.
Who are you kidding?
Yeah. No, even I posted a video, and I said, hey guys, some of us are expecting you to be worse. You could prove us wrong. Wouldn't that be awesome if you proved us wrong and you actually made a society that respected people's rights? You could do it. You could shock everyone. You could be shocking. But they did the unshocking thing, which jihadis are going jihadi. Shocker.
Unshockingly so. So here is Apostate Prophet News, AP, which says 2 days of clashes and revenge killings in Syria leave more than 1,000 people dead. That's what the report says here, more than 1,000. Beirut, the death toll... Reporting from Beirut. The death toll from 2 days of clashes between Syrian security forces and loyalists of ousted President Bashar Assad and revenge killings that followed has risen to more than 1,000, a war monitoring group said Saturday, making it one of the deadliest acts of violence since Syria's conflict began 14 years ago. There's one thing to note, which is that during the entirety of the Syrian civil war, I think the death toll is like over 600,000 or so. So this is nothing compared to that, but still, it is the biggest amount of deaths and killings since the supposed end of the war.
Hey, AP.
What?
Hundreds of thousands of people died in this Syrian civil war.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't this war really kick off because you had a bunch of jihadi groups that wanted to finally take out Assad?
Yes.
And they were smart enough to say, hey, Western nations, we just want freedom and democracy. Will you help us get freedom and democracy like we want really bad? And Western governments said, of course we'll help you. Yes, you fight your civil war for freedom and democracy. That's what we did. That's what we did. We had the American Revolution. Yes, this will work for you too. And then they did it. And then, of course, it's a bunch of jihadis.
Yes.
Oh, okay. We fell for it because they basically learned what to say to us. So, guys, have you noticed they always learn what to say to get what they want? Like if you're going around molesting 12-year-old girls, what do you say? You say, oh, don't be Islamophobes, don't be Islamophobes, and that's how you get Western leaders to submit to you. If you have a different country and you're a bunch of jihadi terrorists and you want to take over a country, then what do you say? Hey, Western nations, we want freedom and democracy too. We want human rights too. We're not getting our human rights. We just want our human rights. This guy's not giving us our human rights. He's an evil dictator. Help us take out the dictator. And Western nations goes, oh, there's no way these people would be lying to us.
Exactly. So the Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said, in addition to 745 civilians killed, this is, by the way, this was reported earlier today, but I think the updated numbers are, or the speculations are that the numbers are much higher. In addition to 745 civilians killed, mostly in shootings from close distance. That is brutal. 125 government security force members and 148 militant with armed groups affiliated with Assad were killed. It added that electricity and drinking water were cut off in large areas around the city of Latakia.
Hey, wait a minute. How can you cut off people's water? That's a
war crime.
Yeah, that's literal genocide, I've heard.
That's literally ethnic cleansing. The clashes, which erupted Thursday, marked a major escalation in challenges to the new government in Damascus, 3 months after insurgents took authority after removing Assad from power. The government has said that they were responding to attacks from remnants of Assad's forces and blamed individual actions for the rampant violence. So they cannot control their doggies. Apparently, what they are saying, what the new government is saying, is that you think we don't have gangsters? We have gangsters. We can control what.
By the way, that's exactly That's exactly the issue, right? So what's he saying? He's saying, hey, we can't control our soldiers if they just start going around killing all these people. Yeah, we don't want it. We don't want it. But if our soldiers are going around just massacring people, who are we to stop them? We can't control these guys. We can't control our gangsters. And it's just amazing that you have in the West the exact same thing. Oh, yeah, okay. We've got an endless supply of people trying to groom and grape these little girls and to slaughter you in the name of Allah. We can't control them. We can't control them. It's just a sizable part of our population. We just can't do anything about it. It's like, wait a minute. So wherever you go, there's just this sizable minority of people who want to bang 12-year-old girls and slaughter as many people as possible, and you can't control this. You can't control this minority at all, right? You can't. No, we can't. Nothing we can do about it. Okay, well then your entire ideology is sick. If you're saying yes, bring in 1 million of us, and oh yeah, 120,000 of those million are going to want to grape a bunch of 12-year-old girls and slaughter you in the name of Allah. But yeah, it's just a minority, and we can't control them.
Yeah, this is kind of a funny tweet. I didn't see this before, by Donald Trump back in 2013. As remember, all these freedom fighters in Syria want to fly planes into our buildings.
Well, he said some stupid things over the years, and he said some things that are right on the money over the years.
Man. Retribution killings between Sunnis and Alawites. The revenge killings that started Friday by Sunni Muslim gunmen loyal to the government against members of Assad's minority Alawite sects are a major blow to Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS, the faction that led the overthrow of the former government. Alawites made up a large part of Assad's support base for decades. Now, lots of people wonder who in the world the Alawites are. These people, the Bashar al-Assad himself, who was the dictator for the longest time and who just was overthrown and fled the country to Russia, was part of this sect. It is a Shia sect, it's rather a Shia cult, actually. It's a Shia cult that is an offshoot of Shia Islam that existed for the longest of time. And that is very distinct from other Muslims. They don't share most of the Muslim beliefs and Muslim etiquettes and all that. They are kind of like an esoteric, mystical religious group that keeps most of their teachings oral and just hidden and secret to people who are actually part of the religion. They don't talk about their religion to others and so on. Some people say that because of persecution, they started identifying as Muslims. That's not really true. They are an offshoot, and in fact, their name, Alawite, means the followers of Ali, or the Ali people. Ali here in this case being the cousin and son-in-law of Muhammad. They basically venerate or worship him as kind of like a manifestation of God or something like that. But the thing is, while you could say that this is a minority that is not like Sunni Muslims and not in power and in charge like other Muslim factions, these guys form a sizable minority in Syria, and they were also in power pretty much throughout Assad's dictatorship, and they also had preferential treatment against the others. This is why there's a lot of revenge killing, as they call it right now in the media and in other places. It's because these Alawites would had preferential treatment under Assad, and Sunni Islam and traditional Islam and so on was kind of suppressed, and lots of people were allegedly made to disappear or tortured, kicked out, and so on, which is why they are now claiming that these people are the oppressors, which is why they go and kill them and execute them on sight and so on. Information that comes out of Syria is very, very hard to fact check, especially right now. So we don't really know to what extent either side is telling the truth and to what extent either side is true. But that's basically what this group is. If you want to further read on them, you can read. It's kind of funny, they don't have an official scripture that they approve of, which you can actually read to understand what the hell they believe in. But it's just an esoteric group. Alawites made up a large part of Assad's support base for decades. Residents of Alawite villages and towns spoke to the Associated Press, it's called Apostate Prophet, idiots, about killings during which gunmen shot Alawites, the majority of them men in the streets or at the gates of their homes. Many homes of Alawites were looted and then set on fire in different areas. 2 residents of Syria's coastal region told the AP from their hideouts. They asked that their names not be made public out of fear of being killed by gunmen. So, there are lots of reports. If you go on Twitter, you will see a stream of lots of videos which the jihadists themselves took of killing people, executing them on the spot, stepping on their necks, shouting Allahu Akbar, and so on. They proudly do these things and post them. Obviously, they are not scared of their leadership. They are proudly doing these things and sharing them online. You have Sunni Muslims around the world saying, yeah, they're doing the right thing. These otherwise they deserve to be killed, and so on. So right now it is these Sunni jihadists taking out and basically revenge killing and genociding this other minority. Their goal is pretty much to suppress and to ideally eradicate this sect. The bad thing is that this sect is not just a very small number of people. What's the number of Alawites that live in Syria? According to official data, between 2 to 3 million people. Between 2 to 3 million people. So these are not just few people. There are lots of people there. Lots of people.
And it's this ongoing issue that you're dealing with people with this tribal mentality, which means, hey, my great-great-grandfather got killed by someone from your tribe. Now I have to go kill someone from your tribe now to even the score and so on. And I still want to wipe you out and so on. The point here is when you have this mentality, there's never any ending to the killing, right? There's always some group out there that did something to you at some point that you need revenge on.
Yeah.
The bloodbath is endless. This is a problem because this is one of the things European nations are doing. They're bringing in all these people who are like, you did this to me a century ago, and now I'm here to subjugate you to even the score. You're dealing with one massive culture that inevitably veers towards an endless bloodbath where everyone is constantly killing everyone until like one person is left alive. And for some reason, all our leaders, all journalists, everyone is too stupid to catch on to what they're dealing with now, no matter how obvious they make it.
Yeah. I have some footage. I don't want to put it on the screen because I think that there's.
You shouldn't have put that on the screen.
Because these are just wrapped bodies. They are doing mass graves.
اللهم لك الحمد يا رب. هدول جماعة أرزة خاصة أرزة الحمد لله.
They're standing over the deaths of minorities and recording it proudly and with love. Now, there are some people who have said these things here. I just want to clarify one thing. I've seen lots of reports or lots of posts that have been saying, for example, Christians, Druze, Alawites, and other minority groups are being slaughtered en masse in Syria by the new regime forces. As much as I would like to, as much as I would believe that they would happily oppress other minorities besides these guys as well, I have so far not seen any actual evidence of Christians being mass killed.
I've also seen tweets about it, and so I ask about it. I say, hey, is this really happening or something like that? Because, I mean, on the one hand, it would make sense because you did have Druze and Christians who have been on Assad's side. So it would make sense. It makes sense from an Islamic perspective to target non-Muslim groups. It also makes sense from the perspective of revenge. Hey, these are people who sided with Assad and we will get revenge on them. But it seems like the regime wants to portray itself as somehow it's going to establish a government for everybody or something like this. So this wouldn't be a good time for it. So yeah, the point here, ladies and gentlemen, is make sure everything's verified.
Yeah, it would be very stupid of them to go after the Christians right now. It would be incredibly stupid of them to do something like that, and I'm not sure how much that is verifiable. But you have I don't want to put this the image here further down, but you have them proudly sharing stuff like this. Here he is. You can find this image online if you want to look at it.
Is that a ginger?
Of this ginger jihadi here, killing and stepping on the body of a what appears to be just a regular civilian woman, an Alawite Syrian civilian woman on her dead body. He's just stepping on her dead body and posing like this. This is the issue. These guys are just worlds apart from people over here with their morals. You would not expect something like this to just happen somewhere in the West or on platforms where we have a general Western attitude. The thing is, to these guys, this is completely cool. They're totally fine with executing, humiliating, brutally massacring minorities, including defenseless men and women and children, and then to be proud of what they have done and to post about it online. He's even doing the sign with his finger, the Tawheed, Allahu Akbar, and so on. So it's just this is what these people are doing. This is a result of the typical curse of Islam, and that's what we're dealing with. There are lots of images. There's lots of footage, lots of stuff here that I don't want to bring up here. But at the same time, you have Sunni Muslims and their supporters celebrating while this is happening. So these guys are celebrating and so on. It's of course very, very cute. Very, very cute. Alhamdulillah. Very cute. Alhamdulillah. I saw this one and thought this is actually a perfect summary. Enough asking about my terrorist past. Let's talk about my terrorist future.
Very big. You see, I have suit on. Now we talk about terrorist future. They're not terrorist past. I have suit on. Terrorist future.
Pretty much. Alhamdulillah. Yeah. That's what's up. Right now, the latest numbers and news are that around over 1,000 people are dead, possibly between 1,000 and 2,000 or something like that. But anything else about the numbers at this point is pure speculation. Skyscraper philosopher. Horrible situation in Antakya. However, it seems like the number you used comes from SOHR, which is notorious for claiming 5 times more deaths than reality. I know they are an organization, but the thing is, they are an organization that is anti-Syrian regime, and that has just been reporting about the whole thing forever. It will be very, very uncommon for them to exaggerate this number. Skyscraper philosopher, look at Nathan Rooser recent tweet about this being an extremely counterproductive information environment. Must remain cool and wait for facts. I know, this is why I'm kind of
saying it.
This is why I'm saying. So I'm just reading the reports on what's happening. As said, there are different claims, such as I've seen many people, and I don't want to publicly make the claim that this is not happening, but I've seen many people claim that Christians are being massacred in Syria. I still haven't seen any proof of that yet.
And it's hard to decipher because people can share videos of stuff, but guys, it's the internet. People can share videos of something that happens 5 years ago in a different country between completely different groups and say, this just happened.
Yep.
And then it gets shared by, thousands of people real quick. Like, so, yep.
Gabriel says, why are there no protests about this? Well, because the perpetrators are Muslims and their victims are the wrong kinds of Muslims. So that's why. Otherwise, if the roles were reversed, especially if perpetrators were somehow Jews or something, then you wouldn't even have to have these massacres.
Yeah, if the Islamists were Israelis and the Alawites were Palestinians, then yes, there would be massive protests going on right now.
They would start shouting genocide before even anybody does anything. So. That's that. Reuters also says more than 1,000 killed in Syrian crackdown on Alawite religion, War Monitor says. So what apparently, here is a background. There's one background, and this is not meant to downplay what's happening, but so what happens is that the jihadists in charge right now, they roll through the entire region of Syria, and they go from region to subdue everyone and to make them lay down their weapons and give everything to the new regime, and to basically submit and accept that the war is now over. The western region, so maybe we should put this on a map here. Syrian civil war. The western region, where the Alawites are located, that region has been kind of not really complying with the demands, because they're like, hey, we're not sure what you guys are going to do to us. So we don't want to
Smart.
lay down our weapons, and we don't want to submit right now. We don't know what you guys are actually going to do to us. And so far the reactions haven't really proven them wrong,
Lay down your weapons so we can bring you peace and tolerance.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay.
So they said, we're not doing that. We need guarantees before we lay down anything at all. Now there is this map here which kind of summarizes the situation in terms of the region. So everything here, these are currently regions controlled by, so this is controlled by Turkey and other forces, these green areas. Then you have these major areas which are currently under control of the jihadists. And then the yellow part is under control of the Syrian Democratic Forces, the Kurdish people and others, who are still holding the territory and fighting back against any attempts by the jihadists to take it over. And here, this region, the western coast, is technically under the control of the jihadists, but still very much held or in non-compliance by the Alawite minorities and also other minorities. This is where most of those the Shia offshoot people live. So this is where most of the fighting is happening at this moment. So officially, if you want to unify all the other factions, they control almost everything except for the Kurdish and allied regions, and they don't have much control or strict control over these regions where they're currently carrying out massacres. So apparently the refusal by the Alawites and others who still stand with Assad's government to comply with the jihadists led the jihadists to have altercations and then to accuse each other and to start shooting and killing each other. What apparently happens is, as a result of that, you actually have individuals going from home to home and carrying out families, dragging out families and shooting them, executing them. So you have actual genocidal executions and killings happening in such a way that, for example, Hamas or the Nazis did it. That is going on, but it's also a giant mess. When I first heard of fighting again breaking out between these two factions, I thought to myself, you know what, I don't really care. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I mean, I feel bad for those who are dying, but I'm not really going to lose sleep over it, because
story of AP for the past 3 years. I don't care how many people die. I don't care how many men, women, and children die. If they're not from my group, then I do not care.
Because, and this is going to be very funny,
Very funny. Death.
Currently, the Alawite groups and leaders, some of them are apparently asking Israel for help. They're saying, "Hey, Israel, come help us." They're asking Israel for help. On the surface, it may look like, oh, so they're asking Israel for help. They think Israel can help. They think Israel is a solution. Oh, good. So maybe these are good guys. Maybe Israel should go over and help them. The problem is that for decades, and especially for the last few years, these guys were standing with Bashar al-Assad with the dreams of, together with the so-called axis of resistance, together with Iran and Hamas and so on, of eradicating Israel and eradicating the Jews Now that they are pushed in a corner, they're like, oh, maybe Israel can help us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
AP,
right.
correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't one of the big reasons the jihadis just won was that Iran and Hezbollah and so on were so focused on Israel, and then Hezbollah gets their balls blown off and Iran gets weakened, and then this axis of resistance gets massively weakened by attacking Israel, and then the Sunni jihadis smell weakness in the water and decide now's a really good time to attack while they're all weakened because they've been going after Israel, and they come in and all the Shias are going, what's going on? Why are we so weak? Why are they conquering us right now? Jews, help us! So wait a minute. Jews, come help us. Even though the reason we're in this position is because we just attacked you and we weakened ourselves. And then these guys came in and took over.
Exactly. There were even some people like Syrian, for example, who are like, oh, this whole thing with this Israel caused this. Look, Israel right at the same time helped these rebels take. No, that's not what happened.
Israel just nuked the Alawites.
That's not what happened. It is this stupid axis of resistance itself that got busy attacking Israel and thinking they can actually do something, and thereby completely dropped their guard and the towel, and then got taken over by the jihadists. That's what actually happened. So,
yeah, guys, if you're kind of new to this, right? Hezbollah, those are a bunch of Shia jihadis, but you had people like Assad who calls on Hezbollah to help protect him from the Shia, to protect him from the Sunni jihadis who want to take over. And Hezbollah does what? Hezbollah kills tons and tons and tons of Sunni jihadis to protect Assad. Then what happens? Then Hezbollah starts attacking Israel. Israel blows the balls off the entire leadership. They decapitated them. They took out the top. And then a bunch of Sunni jihadis invade. Hezbollah, come help. What are you talking about? We don't have any balls left. We don't have any balls left to fight. Like, no, literally. We literally do not have testicles between our legs anymore, and you're telling us to go fight Sunni jihadis. No, we can't. We are not in a position to fight anymore. And then what happens? Assad falls. That's what's going on. That should be a lesson. It should be a lesson to everyone. If you have, guys, here's the lesson. Like serious lesson. If you are a Shia group and you have a bunch of Sunnis who want to take you out, probably not a good time to start messing with Israel, who just wants to be left alone. Right? Probably not a good time to be picking a fight with Israel. If you're some sort of Sunni group that's on the verge of being blown away by Shias, probably not a good time to be going around screwing around with Israel, who just wants to be left alone. Point being, if you're a Sunni group in the middle of Shias, or you're a Shia group in the middle of Sunnis, you have bigger problems than, oh, death to Israel. But you keep going, oh, death to Israel. Oh, no, why are we being defeated? Because you do something stupid, they blow all your testicles off, and then you can't fight against the guys who want to subjugate you. Bunch of morons, man.
That's what they do. That's precisely what they do.
And again, I'm saying this because you might be like AP and go, oh, Sunnis and Shias, what do I get? There are all these other groups that are always caught in the middle of this stuff. It sucks for them that everyone else has to be a complete idiot out there in the world.
That's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what's going on. You have these things, these supposed spokespeople here. Alawite genocide. Israel must decide whether it's ready or not to secure alliance with Alawites and end our historic enmity, and order its slave regimes in KSA, Qatar, Turkey, EU, UK to end their sponsorship of Al Qaeda, and so on. These guys were just advocating for the death and removal of Israel just a few months ago, man. Now suddenly they're like, oh, maybe it's time to make alliance with Israel.
Yeah, Israel's our best friend. We love Jews. Yeah, we love freedom and democracy and Jews.
So stupid, man. You reap what you sow.
That's true.
You reap what you sow.
Indeed, you do.
You reap what you sow.
That's a fact.
Yeah. Style and rail woodworking. It's nice to see you got rid of that dead weight. Oh, hey, David.
Who's the dead weight?
Well, it's talking about probably about Hassan Nasrallah, something. Yeah. Apostle of Allah. AP is the most humble leader of all ex-Muslims. In fact, this is true. Yeah, powerful. Yak says Sam Shimoon predicted that AP would turn Christian about 8 or so months ago, and AP mocked him. I didn't mock him. Did I?
Who could have foreseen that AP would become a Christian? Oh my goodness!
Did I mock him? I don't think I mocked him. You both now have to admit that Sam is a prophet. Well, here's the thing. You're assuming right now that I'm a Christian and that I made this official. So, and I'm sharing less news about this than people actually expect of me to. But
you're supposed to. I told you you're supposed to vlog it. Hey guys, here I am outside this church. Gotta do that.
Yeah.
Chat GPT, who is the real one?
So, but yeah, I actually had this question, and I asked. So yeah, I have been going to an Orthodox church with my wife, and am going again tomorrow. And I have been talking to the priest, and I kind of asked that priest because I said, you know what? Nowadays, some people ask me this question like, "Are you a Christian now?" And I don't really know what to say. When can I say that I actually am, or what should I say right now? So he gave me some advice and said that he would advise to leave the statement "I am a Christian" to a certain time, at which I know within my heart that that Jesus is my Lord. That's what. And I thought, okay, I can work with that. But here's the small news for those who are curious. Last weekend when I was at church, I decided that I want to officially start learning and become a catechumen in the Orthodox Church. And today, actually, my priest got in touch with me and and asked me, do you still? Tomorrow I'm going to accept you. Do you still want to do that? And I said yes. So tomorrow I'm going to go to the service, to the divine liturgy, and am going to be, unless I change my mind like five minutes before, am going to be accepted as a catechumen in the Greek Orthodox Church. That would mean that I'm officially starting my journey toward becoming a Christian and toward getting baptized. And I don't know how long it will take from there, but I think this will then result in getting baptized and officially declaring myself a Christian. So powerful. That's that.
Hey, you know who predicted that? Khalil Andani. Remember he tweeted, he says, I predicted AP is going to become a Christian.
Man. Powerful.
Hey, I don't have much familiarity with the Orthodox Church and so on. So it is interesting that, well, I'm only hearing about this from you, but it's like, here's this process on how you become a Christian. It's kind of funny because, like, in the Bible, it's like, hey, you believe this now? Yes. Okay, you're a Christian.
Yeah. What they do is, like, traditionally they want to establish that you actually you can always attend and you can always go, and if you want to start identifying as such, you can always do that and all that. But if you want to actually become part of the church, then you go through a process of learning and of learning all the prayers and practices and the fundamentals.
Yeah, it looks like they basically combine like because normally those two things would be separate in my mind, like conversion and then like discipleship, because actually becoming a disciple.
Uh-huh.
Whereas it sounds like it's like one thing. It's like you're like becoming a Christian is becoming a disciple. So here's how you go about all this or something like that. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. And here they kind of educate you, and then once the priest decides that you're ready, he says, "All right, man. All right,
you're officially based. You're officially based.
We're doing this. Now it's time to get baptized." And when you get baptized, you also are supposed to pick a baptismal name based on a saint or something. And I've already decided on that as well. So,
who is the patron saint of humiliators?
That's exactly what I chose. I looked up the patron saint of humiliation, and Spain picked him. Misha SWB, the end shall not come until Muslims hide behind the tree of Nicaea and pay jizratua. For the tree of Nicaea is the tree of the Muslims. Hail Ezra. Okay. Nancy, but he has a suit on. He changed out of the killer garb. That's all it takes, right? This is true.
For Westerners to conclude that you are no longer a jihadi, that's all you have to do. By the way, you know what's funny? I talked about a series that I never got around to recording, but it was going to be called Captain Freedom. It was going to be about a captain during the Revolutionary War, fighting alongside George Washington, who gets frozen in ice, and then he gets he wakes up in the 21st century, and he is shocked at what's going on, so he decides to confront jihad. Anyways, Captain Freedom and his sidekick Liberty Boy, and but I told you before, their nemeses are General Sharia. He's like the Muslim leader, General Sharia, and Major Taqiyya, right? But Major Taqiyya, he's always looks like the Taliban. He's ready to kill someone until they say, we need Major Taqiyya. And then he shaves and then takes off his gut and puts on a suit and then stands in front. And one of the things we want as Muslims is freedom and democracy. And he starts talking to the press and so on. But it's just funny that you actually have people who do exactly like what I thought they would do in a skit. Like in a skit, making fun of what you do. Hey, I'm a jihadi, I'm a jihadi, I'm a jihadi, I'm a jihadi, I'm a jihadi. Oh, we need the good graces of Western nations. Put on a suit. Oh, yes, everyone, we all just want freedom and democracy. And then they actually do it. They actually do the same thing, like something that I would think would be hilarious in a skit about how stupid Westerners are, that they fall for this idiotic nonsense, and about how the jihadis actually know how stupid we are and know how to play our leaders and journalists like a fiddle just by saying, oh, look, I put a suit on, you see, I'm a good guy now. And they'll go, oh, he's a good guy now. He's a good guy now. Like, I thought it would be funny to make fun of everyone in a skit by doing this. And it actually happens in the world. And everyone falls for it.
Powerful, powerful. That Jewish ex-bar in chat says, AP kind of surprised by the pushback by the host of Junge Freiheit against you and Irfan Peti's critique of Islam. Your thoughts? Part 2 upcoming soon.
Hey, that's actually funny. Freiheit, that was going to be his actual name, Captain Freiheit.
Oh, that's funny.
Because he's going to become Captain Freedom. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
That's funny. Yeah, so this interview, what that Jewish ex-spy in the chat is talking about is the interview that I shared, or were on the thumbnail. I don't even look like myself because they apparently use the mirror image of me, which is very strange. But it is a chat that I had, an interview that I had on a German channel where this dude here interviewed me, and this is actually a quite relatively big and nice German channel that is right wing.
That is the most German looking person I've ever seen in my entire life.
You know what? My wife saw this video, and as soon as she saw it, she said, that looks like the most German looking man I've ever seen.
It looks like every German movie villain we've ever seen in our life.
Yeah. I turned this video on yesterday with my wife sitting next to me, and she said the exact same thing.
That's funny.
So what you describe as pushback, that Jewish ex-spy, is that so he did indeed have some pushback. He did indeed, when I talked about how Islam is the problem and how Islam needs to be dealt with, and Muslims need to leave Islam altogether and so on. He did ask some questions, but much of the question was basically just him playing devil's advocate, which he also told me after the interview. The funny thing is, I checked the comment section and people are like, what is wrong with the interviewer? So apparently people don't really perceive that very well. But he didn't want me to make a distinction between those Muslims who believe in really radical stuff and who are ready to get violent, and those who don't actually believe in that kind of stuff, so that we can efficiently distinguish them and then tackle the right thing. And the funny thing about this is, at the end of the conversation, I believe it was like he asked the question whether we shouldn't care of those Muslims who are not engaged in violent activities and all that, and in hate. And I said to him, well, to be honest, I don't really care. I don't really care.
They can really care if you slaughter every Muslim man, woman, and child in the world.
The peaceful Muslims can go ahead and make that distinction for themselves. I'm not gonna waste my time doing that. Like I don't care. We need to I don't care about having to put effort or thought into making that distinction. These people will justify it when I'm dead, and they will celebrate it. Why in the world would I spend a second distinguishing between peaceful Muslim and not peaceful Muslim? I don't care. They can do that. Yeah. Anyway, but it was a very good interview, and it was pretty based. So yeah. And part 2 is coming soon as well. Yeah, part 2 was even better, I think. And Wykov, they're killing Christians too. Syrian room status. Can't check that out right now. Maybe I can. Let me see.
You should.
Let me see.
You should find a way to check it out.
I
It's
can
called,
find
you
it
can cut,
here.
you can copy, and then you could paste
And here I can
that
check
link.
it.
The problem is, if that's just a link to an X post, then
The father of the Room Orthodox, Father Gregorius Beshara, has been slaughtered by Islamic terrorists in his home.
is that true?
They killed my cousin Jihad Bechara, an elderly Orthodox Christian man in Banias. Okay. Well, there's at least one. May he rest in peace. I haven't seen any other. Jihadist regime terrorists murdered the Christians, Tony Butros and his son, Fadi Butros. Okay. There seems to be individual cases here and there where they do kill.
Aw, man.
Man. It's funny when I see that random accounts just block me.
It's funny that they tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish Christians they're all the best, and for the protection of Christians, at least somebody should jump in and something. Not for the Alawites. And I'm not saying that they deserve to be killed or they deserve to die. It's sad that they die. But they reap what they sow. Philip Daniel, Alawites are suffering a 10-7. Meanwhile, their partisans on Reddit say Arabs who don't condemn are like Jews who don't condemn Zionism. I know. And this is what I mean. Like, they are being killed. They're being genocided. They're being ethnically cleansed. And many of them still are like, oh, this is just like Israel. You freaking imbeciles. Absolute morons. Absolute imbeciles. John West, AP is as humble as Cannibalistic Lion, but Hatun Tash wrote the book. This makes sense. This makes very much sense. Crazy Normie YT, Trump should support both a free Alawite state and a free Druze state. Both would have lots of Christians. The only society that can actually establish a state for the Druze people would be Israel. Anybody else, the West cannot go in and do such a thing. The West is too naive and stupid in handling such a thing. They would probably be like, all right, let's also put a bunch of Muslims in there and then see what happens.
That would be so based.
And Israel is apparently working on creating a safe zone for the Druze people there. While the Druze people, many of them try to dissociate themselves from it out of fear of being associated with Israel and then getting killed by the jihadists and so on.
Yeah, there's going to need to be Israel should just take over like a third of Syria and make that this is the area under the protection of Israel. If you're a jihadi who gets caught in this area, it will not go well for you. But any you Christians, Druze, anyone who wants to not be slaughtered in the name of Allah, come to this area.
Powerful. John the Press Buyer says Trigonometry had some guy on talking about the Crusades and didn't mention 5 centuries of Islamic aggression. 90% of comments wanted Raymond Ibrahim. Now he's on the guest list. Oh, cool.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay, Trigonometry's been putting out some good stuff, man. Every time I click on something of theirs, it's pretty dope.
They have always been very good. It's one of the very, very few platforms and groups and places that I actually have have been subscribed to and have been supporting for the longest time, because I think Konstantin Kisin is a very, very good, very reasonable, very smart guy, very rare. And the other guy whose name I always forget,
I forget too. That's the same thing. Yeah, it's hard to forget a name like Konstantin Kisin.
Yeah.
The other guy,
He's very funny.
Yeah, but very forgettable name. But that's what I'm talking about. I just saw a video of his like a day or two ago when he was saying that people come up to him all the time and thank him, saying they come up to him all the time and thank him and say, "Hey, thank you for saying this stuff that I can't really say because I would get in trouble." And he basically went off. He's like, "No, shut up then. Shut up. This is not a time for you to be worrying about the repercussions of speaking out. This is a time you need to speak out no matter what. And if you're not going to, then just shut up. Don't come up and talk to me and tell me you're grateful to me for being able to say this is not a time. It's too late. It's too late for that." So anyway, it was he was basically saying, guys, it's now or never. So get out of the way, or stand up now.
Powerful. Chagami is blind when it comes to Russia and Putin, said Pax Alutin. I'm not sure how they're blind. I would
they would have that like a pretty similar position to us, right? Like, hey, that Zelensky, look what he did. Yeah, he made Zelensky maybe a total douche and a total scumbag.
No, he's not. Zelensky's based.
The point is, do not freaking give an inch to Putin.
Yeah, I think that that Konstantin is very, very clear on protecting Ukrainian sovereignty and all that. I think that's his position. I'm not entirely sure.
With me, it's just there's a handful of people in the world that you get a big vibe off of. These are people who really want more than they have right now, and you need to watch out for them. So your hero Erdogan. I look at Erdogan, I say, this is a guy who really wants to be the leader of some big, like a return to the Ottoman Empire. And then you've got Putin. He wants like a return to the glory days of the Soviet Union and stuff. These guys all want to expand significantly. And if you appease them and say, okay, just take this little bit, that does not help you. That you have your mind, oh, he says he just wants this little bit. Just give him that little bit. Just give him that little bit that he wants. What's wrong with him having that little bit? He doesn't just want that little bit. He wants a ton. And if you stop him from getting the little bit, then he'll expend himself trying to get that little bit and never have anything. If you actually just give him that little bit, he's going for the whole thing.
Yeah. King Coach says Zelensky is corrupt, Putin is evil. Two things can be true at the same time. Yeah. Pretty much. You can't, I mean, as much as I'm not a fan of saying something negative about Ukraine to make a point or something, but it's fair to assume that Ukraine, with all the corruption it has in politics, still has a big chunk of corruption. You have to use some of it to get rid of the corruption, even if you want to get rid of it. And I'm pretty sure that Zelensky also has corruption and all of that. But the fact here is that there are some who come here and say, "Oh no, Putin is not the enemy. Putin just defended himself. He was provoked." You are simply just repeating Russian Putin propaganda.
Yeah.
You could argue that you
idiotic
don't want
reasoning.
to support Ukraine. You could argue that you don't want to fund Ukraine and so on.
Mm-hmm.
None of this matters. The fact here is that Putin did not react. He was not provoked. He's an imperialist bastard. He's the devil of Europe. That's basically
he's a scumbag. And if you're going to say, look, there's corruption in the government. Therefore, what? Therefore, they should be conquered by Putin. Okay, the entire EU is corrupt. Look at how much corruption we have in the U.S. government. Guess what? I don't want the U.S. government being conquered by Putin. I don't want Europe. I don't want the European Union being conquered by Putin. But what about all the corruption? Yeah, Putin's worse than anything you're talking about.
Yes,
that's morons, man.
That's what they do. He also there are these people who come to me. It's like, look, I don't want to go down this route, but lots of people who come here and they're like, "Oh no, you're wrong about this, Putin, NATO, this and this." Lots of these people are people who have never even heard of Ukraine before the war, and others who
couldn't have found it on a map if you given them
who never looked into it until the whole war started, or until their own side said something about it. It's as easy as just going to the announcement that Putin made on the morning of announcing the invasion of Ukraine. His reasons were his biggest reasons actually for the invasion were not just that Ukraine did wrong steps and so on. You can see there very clearly that he says, for example, that Ukraine should have never been allowed to be a free country, that Ukraine doesn't have a legitimate real culture, that Ukrainians are just actually Russians who falsely identify as separate people, that they all belong to Russia, that all of it should belong once again to Russia, and so on. Like, this is, if you say these things and then you add further reasoning to why you want to invade Ukraine, I'm not buying the rest. You sound like a complete lunatic, a Russian imperialist. And to be very frank, I don't want to, and I don't often do this, make this comparison, but you frankly sound like Hitler when he invaded Poland. It's basically the same narrative.
And all the people saying, "Oh, just give him what he wants. He just wants a little bit. Just give him what he wants." They sound like the people who appeased Hitler.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So guys, yeah, all you people, you're cheering for the destruction of Ukraine right now. You're the same people who a couple years ago, if you'd been handed a map and said, "Find Ukraine on the map," you'd be like, "Is it here?" It's like, "No, that's Madagascar." "Oh, is it here?" "No, that's Indonesia." And what actually happened is the group that you're in suddenly said, "No, Zelensky bad, Putin deserve it," and you go, "Yeah, Putin deserve it, Zelensky bad," because your group did it. That's the extent of your knowledge.
Powerful. And if you haven't read that speech by Putler, you can always look it up. You can find it very, very easily. I think I found it right here just now. There's even a you can find links to it very, very easily. I think this should be it. The whole speech has been translated and transcribed and translated. Here's the Spectator. I think this is the one. He gave 2 speeches, I think, with 3 days distance or so, or a few days. I think this is the one where he announces the invasion. Yeah, Putin's declaration of war on Ukraine. The whole transcript is here, and he goes into a whole dumb, completely made up revisionist history lesson on how Ukrainians aren't even a real thing, and they basically belong to Russia, and always should have belonged to Russia, should have never become their own nation, and so on. But of course, we tolerated this nation as long as they don't get in our way, and as long as they are good boys. But they did not stay good boys. That's why the time has come to put an end to it, and so on. Get the hell out of here, man. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. Do you really want me to make a whole live stream about these lies that people are telling? Like, "Oh, NATO made a promise not to expand, but then they expanded." Never happened. Never happened. Never happened. What did happen, however, is that that Russia actually made an agreement never to attack Ukraine, which they broke, and so on. So, whatever, man.
Yeah. Then you have Spectator here. "It's not our war. I won't pick a side." No one's telling you to pick a side, Spectator. What our problem is when people say, "Oh, you've got evil dictator here going around trying to expand and conquer the world," which would be massively bad even for you if you give these guys an inch and they take more and more and more. Long down the road, they destroy everything. So the problem is not that you say, "I don't want to take a side. I don't care. I don't give a flying rat's behind what side you take." You're the same kind of guys who go, "You can't have a problem with Putin because Putin's not directly attacking you." I can look at Russia and how Russia puts a monkey wrench in everything that goes on in the world, trying to screw it up for the good of Mother Russia, and say, I do not want these guys getting more power. One, because it's bad for all the people around them and their own people, and for us, and for the entire world. Yes, I can actually have a problem with it. I can. So shut up if you have a problem with it.
Ragnar Lothbrok, who at some point had a dream of conquering the West and then died and left misery behind. Ragnar Lothbrok here says, "Apostate prophet, actually there are papers that show America promised that. To be honest, look into that, AP. You are the 5,000th person who has come with the same objection. And whenever I ask, can you show me the agreement in which this was promised and agreed upon, you will not be able to show it to me. I will assume here for a second that you are actually honest because you said to be honest. So I would invite you to do one thing. Sit down and try to find whether there is an agreement which has a clause that says that NATO should not expand to the east. Find me an agreement that says something like that. Number one, you will not find it. I can already make the prediction because it does not exist. Number two, what you will find is what Russian propaganda uses, which is that transcripts or notes of the general secretary in the United States during talks making such a promise, actually in relation to expanding inside Germany, completely different topic. The issue, however, is the big problem with this is NATO or NATO is an organization that does not depend on the opinion of the general secretary who is currently in charge of, who is currently appointed to the United States. Even the president of the United States, if he sat down and unofficially made such a promise, this would not be a binding agreement. An international defense organization does not work like that. It does not work on given promises or notes or verbal agreements. It does not depend on things like these.
So you're saying this would be like someone from the UN says to Putin, "Hey, here's what the UN will do," and then Russia goes around like that's binding on the UN
Exactly,
because someone said it.
Doesn't work like that. Countries, nations have specifically come up with the idea of putting everything on paper and signing it and having multiple people testify to it, because you cannot simply go by a person's word. You could probably do that in your private life. You can't do that with international organizations, especially not words given by members who don't even have the power or the authority to make decisions on the behalf of this organization. So there it is, refuted, debunked. There is no such agreement. Such a promise was never made. Nothing has been violated. You know what has been violated, however? In 1994, Russia, together with the United States and other countries, came together and did make an agreement, a signed written agreement, to denuclearize Ukraine under the condition that none of these countries will, under any circumstances, attack Ukraine. Guess who broke that agreement multiple times? Russia. And guess who is actually also part to the agreement and who would normally be expected to jump in and defend Ukraine in such a case? The United States of America. There you go. Alhamdulillah. But anyway, I don't know anything, man. Yes. Chloe L. What's a good way to DM you, David, to discuss theology? Hey, Chloe, what's up? How you doing? David, answer.
I have zero clue why you would want to DM me to discuss theology. There would be a ton of people who would be better to discuss theology with than me.
Powerful.
Other topics maybe, but like theology, there's people who know way more theology than I do. So
powerful. And Storm says Ukraine has no possible way to regain their territory forcefully. Trump is their only hope. Yeah, okay, I understand the point you're making, and I also agree, unlike most Ukraine supporters here, that what's lost is lost. There is not much of a way of getting it back. You need to make some compromise and come to an agreement. But why? Why do you have to fuel that with false statements?
Yeah.
About
You
Ukraine?
deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. Zelensky, him bad. Putin great. Putin our hero. Putin good guy.
Why?
You can acknowledge certain realities. Like, apart from something bigger happening from other nations supporting Ukraine or something like that, they're not getting that back. There's no getting that land back the way things are going. Something would have to massively change. You can acknowledge that reality and even say, okay, come to some agreement and acknowledge that you've lost some territory, and that way Putin gets to go and say, hey, we liberated these areas and stuff like that, and maybe you get a war. You can be advocating for stuff like that without propping up Putin as some sort of great good guy here and all this.
The other thing is, like Donald Trump, for example. I voted for Donald Trump, and I stand by my vote. I'm happy. I'm proud of it.
You remind us of that daily.
I'm proud of that. And I like some of the things that he does. For example, sending the message to Hamas and saying "Shalom Hamas."
Very rude. Very rude. Message.
Do
It was
as I
the
say,
best
or you will
message. It was the best message.
However, there are certain things that I just find completely shameful and disgusting, such as his claims about Zelensky, such as that Zelensky is a dictator who is unpopular and who suspended elections because he knows that nobody would vote for him. This is completely false. There's just one thing that people should know. In Ukraine, it is officially by law forbidden to have elections during wartime. I'm serious. If you didn't know this, you should look this up. You should fact check me, and you will find out that it's true. By Ukrainian law, it is illegal to have elections during martial law, during war times, when the country is divided and at war. So it wasn't Zelensky who suspended elections. Zelensky simply followed the law. His opposition within Ukraine also doesn't want elections. Even those people who severely criticize him and disagree with him also don't want elections. Why do we have to lie about this? It's just so dumb. Ethan Matthew, unless it can be blamed on the Jews or Israel, then to the world, for all intents and purposes, it didn't happen. This is very much factual and true. Thank you. KJ139PS, where is the outrage for innocents dying in Syria? I'm here in UK where all protests are just for Palestine. Hypocrisy pro-Max. It wasn't there some guy who climbed on the Big Ben today with the Palestine flag or something?
Yes, he climbed Big Ben. And that's when I was like, maybe Israel should be destroyed. This guy climbed a clock. He climbed a clock. Now I have to agree with him.
Is he still there? What an idiot.
That'd be funny. He gets stuck. Can someone send me some food up here? No, come down and get it.
I think he was there for most of the day.
I don't know what kind of experienced climber he is or something like that, but usually down is more difficult than up. It's easier to climb something than it is to climb down off something. So
the latest news is man with Palestinian flag comes down from Big Ben Tower 46 minutes ago. Okay.
That's good. Woohoo. What? He came down? Oh, now I no longer support the Palestinians.
The bad thing is, the unfortunate thing is that he actually came down with help.
I
was expecting him to come down a different...
Yay, now we must support the death of the Jews.
Wait, he was only there? Pathetic. That's it. Man, I thought he was higher.
Oh, yeah, you're saying he's only like 30 feet off the ground or something?
Yeah.
He could have jumped off.
I was expecting him to come down a different way, but whatever, this works too. And Wyckoff, they're breaking into Maronite homes in Tartus, killing, desecrating icons, saying, "May Allah curse you, infidels." Can you send me more links on that, please? I don't see much verifiable stuff, but I would like to check that out, to be very, very, very frank. In fact, you have me on Twitter, don't you? Just send me links there. Coffee House Dialogue. To the Antiochian Patriarchate, wake up and look at what the jihadis are doing to you. They do not want peace.
Oh, I'm pretty sure the Christians there know that. It's the rest of the world.
The Antiochian Patriarchate. Yeah. The thing is, yes, the Christians know, but however, remember, the Antiochian Patriarchate is the one that we looked at several weeks ago that actually issued a statement praising Hassan Nasrallah as a martyr who unfortunately was assassinated, or who unfortunately was martyred, and so on. So, which also kind of made me have major issues with some of these Orthodox Christians in the Middle East.
I mean, I always assume that they're just trying to be smart. Like, oh, let me praise these guys who are around me and can kill me. And therefore, yay, we're on the same side of something here. So don't kill it. That's what I assume. I don't know that, though. They could be they could be just massively indoctrinated in the same way that you'll have Palestinian Christians on the same side with jihadis on certain issues. So you could just have absorbed an idea from your surroundings. But I usually assume when I see churches saying, yes, we are against this thing that happened, I usually assume they're just trying their best to get along with certain groups who are trying to exterminate them.
You see. Jeremy Mott, religion of peace, making pieces of people powerful. St. Miles just got up from a nap. 1,530 hours. I was
The
reviewing
longest nap ever.
Wow.
It's a
I was
military
reviewing
nap.
posts on Twitter and offsites at 0400 hours. So you mean 400 hours. The posts are horrifying. I know, yes, I saw them. I can't put anything on here pretty much because I don't want to expose lots of bad stuff here. But the footage that is coming out from Syria is grotesque, is disgusting, is horrible, and who could have predicted this? Who could have predicted this? Who could have predicted
Yeah,
this?
jihad normally fixes everything when it comes to an area, but
Exactly.
in this case, it's just weird. So you expect it. Hey, jihad always works, and Sharia always works, and jihadi groups taking over areas always works well for everyone, and just leads to more freedom and progress. And so this is just massively confusing.
Joseph Giannaco says AP is horrible.
AP is indeed horrible. That is the smartest
dare
comment
you?
I've seen all day.
How dare you call me horrible? They are seeing.
Heard it here, folks. AP is horrible. and then they even use your preferred pronoun, they.
Yes.
AP is horrible. They see.
Patriotic Z. By the way, before I was asking if you are considered a theist, so you believe in a god, but not necessarily one in particular. I've been praying for you. I love you both. I know you asked. Here's the thing. I have been for a month or so now. Been actively and explicitly professing to believe in God, and also willingly and happily and lovingly praying the regular traditional Christian prayers. But the thing is, I feel like my mind has been numbed, and I don't mean this in a bad way, dear atheists, but poisoned with brutal skepticism and ice cold atheism for years in such a way that something weird happens, and I can't really tell if I'm like when I can actually say that I believe. It's kind of funny, but I do have faith. Agent Mulderino, Islam Schmislam, powerful. Ida Rogozin, what's up, Ida? Ida is based. Thank you. Coffee House Dialogue for Daily Wire.
Yeah, you're supposed to read the question as a German.
You're supposed to read it. It says for Daily Wire.
What? You mean we support? You mean we are supporting the anti-Christian loonies in Syria? No, that's impossible. Yeah.
Powerful. David Daw. Thank you, David. Jack Ray. When AP says this is going to be very funny, it's about to get weird. I know.
It's about to get horrible. It's about to involve lots of horrible, bloody deaths.
Horrible, messed up stuff.
And the most funny thing is, 500,000 people just died in a horrible attack.
But you know what's funny?
Death. Death and dismemberment.
Hey, I came up with this brilliant idea yesterday or so of to create a mumble rap song from the perspective of Prophet Muhammad. And I thought it may be this time to soon publish my first musics on my musics channel.
It's not the first time you posted before.
But not on my musics channel.
Oh. Well, you don't want to give it. You just announced it, and you're not going to give everyone a little taste.
Fine, I guess I'm going to do it.
You can play a few seconds of it.
Okay, fine. So here's an annoying mumble rap
You're
song.
welcome, everybody, because everyone is going to be like, "What? Where is it?" And I actually got him to play a little bit of it.
Here's an annoying mumble rap song from the perspective of the Prophet Muhammad. It's very good. Very good stuff. Let's see. Is this it? All right.
riding through the desert, got a vision, I'm the king. Married like a dozen, every wife gon' kiss the ring. Gabriel pulled up, said, bro, you know you run the scene. Told him, write it down, now they reading what I dream. Huh? They be looking at me when they need an answer. For real. I be guiding them whenever I want, yeah. Let's go. Profit game, Allah giving me, you better believe me or you'll die, yeah. Wow. I don't do alcohol, only that Zam flow. Riding my camel slow, screw the sand I go. Got a whole squad now, so you bow down. Or we wipe your whole town. Mecca wasn't listening, so I had to spin back. Pulled up with the cavalry, said y'all better adapt. Got a new verse when they said I couldn't act. Changed up the script, now they praying where I sat. I got a revelation, midlife situation. Told them all to follow me or face some complications. Heard you got some doubts, go ahead speak it out. Oh wait, that's blasphemy, now take the sword route. They be calling when they lost, I be giving them the way.
It's powerful, isn't it? It's powerful.
I'm not sure it qualifies as mumble rap because I understood the lyrics.
Yeah, I have to add more mumbling to it. It's like it's kind of hard to make it mumble more, but I have to do it more.
Just get the whole song and then dub your own mumbling over it. Like, it's like,
I also have a different version that's much better over here. There's a fantastic beat though. It's called Plated Prophet.
Pull up on the playground. Bismillah. What's recess looking like? Wife so young, she's still in class. Hop on my camel, we riding fast. Tag you with girl, no need to ask. Angel co-signed it, I got the pass. Dollhouse drip, she playing with toys. Call me the prophet, but move like a boy. Said it's divine, so they bringing me joy. History shook, but they still say deploy. Picked her up, no Uber. Still got dolls, but she called me a ruler. Broke the rules, so
what's wrong with you, man?
Man, so stupid. Oh man, it's just Muhammad's life, man. It's not my fault. Thalia asked, the Muslims are gaining power through force, the only method that works. Ask every government, whoever chose to go to war, why they did. That's true. That's true, man. Ida goes on, what's up, Ida? Your map is wrong. The whole world is controlled by Jews. This is true.
Fair point.
Very much. Jack Ray said they had Assad's carnage. Now they have carnage Assad. Powerful. Tim Peterson said, AP, get one of those mega churches to sponsor you. I shall do that right now. Talia, Muslims have proven that words don't work. They simply ignore it. The only solution now, the only one that works, the only thing that brings change. Powerful. AP, be like God, you going back to Islam. That would be funny.
Sorry.
Ham Sunshine, hallelujah. Okay. D, what's up, D? Did you guys see Nasrallah's kids on memory? Pager attack made him sad. Really? That's very sad, man. That's very, very sad.
That sucks if it made them sad.
Well, if they lost their balls, I mean, I would be sad if I lost my balls. You know? If
I would be extremely upset if I lost my testicles.
Well, why would you blow up my balls? I don't want my balls blow up. I spoke to Dawkins, peace be upon him, and he has placed a Darwinian fatwa on you, AP. Really?
Powerful.
Well, powerful. I want to see that. Gota, but what would your name be? Stay apostate prophet? Yes. Not going to change my name. The channel's name is going to be Apostate Prophet.
Just ask them for like some Latin or Greek version or Syriac version. Of
Once Apostate Prophet, always Apostate Prophet, man. That's how we roll. Ida, what's up? Ida, you see David Wood is a prophet. That's true. He's a prophet. Jack Ray, Captain Freedom and Liberty Bell. So a woman could be
Oh,
part of
Liberty Boy. Oh, Wonder Woman. Oh, no. See, in the story, guys, I actually had the entire thing. We just never actually recorded it because it required like costumes and stuff. But anyway, it was Captain Freedom and Liberty Boy. You're saying, oh, why not make it Liberty Bell so that you could have a woman? But no, there are other women. So it's Captain Freedom and Liberty Boy and their enemies, General Sharia and Major Takia. But then Captain Freedom's team is eventually expands to Captain Freedom and the Freedom Five. You get like Chocolate Justice and so on. That's going to be John McCrae. But anyway, but yeah, then you end up with all these this group of women in burqas who are walking by Captain Freedom, and all of a sudden, like a ninja star goes by his head, and he says, "Ha! I knew they were ninjas." And then, so you got all these women in burqas, but they're actually ninjas attacking Captain Freedom, but he won't hit them back. And they think he will, and then they find out that he won't beat them. So anyway, they all convert, and they leave Islam and become good ninjas dressed in white ninja outfits. So yes, no, there are plenty of roles for women in Captain Freedom.
Become ninjas dressed in white. Yeah, St. Miles, David, it won't be better to make an Assassin's Creed character that fights for Christianity. Makes sense. David doesn't know what Assassin's Creed is, though, because he's a boomer.
David, it would be better to make Assassin's Creed character that fights for Christianity.
Connor, once you become a Christian, I hope Muslims start saying you're a closet atheist. They will.
They will.
He's lying to dupe Christians. He's actually an atheist. All obvious, you see.
It's
so
funny.
funny.
It's funny because then they get like the most obvious grifters on the planet, like Tate and Lily J and all these people.
Yeah, those are heroes.
Did you see Andrew Tate in the casino?
Hey, I shared that picture of Andrew Tate and his Bud Light.
I don't know why he's doing this. I thought he was a Muslim.
It's Ramadan, man. You got to throw down in Ramadan. Got to get. What's Ramadan without a little gambling at a casino?
I'm very disappointed because I thought that he's sincerely a Muslim, but here he is in Vegas playing, gambling, drinking. What is this, man? It's Ramadan. It's Ramadan. What's wrong with you? I see that there are Muslims who might making videos in response condemning this, but of course they're very wrong. You can let Top G do whatever he wants to do, man. Top G can.
Yeah, he's better than you. What did you idiots think he was signing on for? Something where he's going to submit to what you guys?
He's still learning. He's new.
Yeah, he's new. He's new. He's learning. It's funny. He's sitting there, and long after he had converted, he kept posting that he's God. And posting pictures of all these girls around him in bikinis and stuff like this over and over and over again. He's just new. Hey, here he is gambling during Ramadan. Oh, we got a problem with it now.
He's still new, man.
He's still new, guys. He's still new.
Echad said, ever heard that the Roman Catholic Church created Islam? I hope that you're just asking this as like, have you ever heard of this very stupid thing?
This dumb thing? Yeah. I've even heard... I even heard over and over again. Hang on, let me look it up. I even heard that the Jesuits started Islam, right? Because I went to a Jesuit school. I heard that the Jesuits started Islam, which is funny because the Jesuits were founded as an order in 1540. So you have to say that there was no Islam. Or that the Jesuits built a time machine and went back in time and so on. But yeah, I heard
you went to a Jesuit school. The Jesuits actually founded Islam.
Hey, this is funny. I never Googled this. For the first time, I decided to Google, did the Catholic Church create Islam, to see if there's any fact check.
It would be funny if it said, no, it was the Jews.
But there's actually a serious article by USA Today debunking this. I mean, I guess if you want to debunk everything that's like, even, and no matter how stupid it is, you could do that. But it's kind of funny to me that there's actually a serious article about this. The claim the Catholic Church created Islam. Our rating false. The Catholic Church did not create Islam. Man. Aleres Veros, if they want Syria to be peaceful, they should just allow the Jews to run the country as they can.
That's what I said. I said a third of it. Give them a third of it. And the reason would be, look, here's what you do. You take Syria, you make a third of it controlled by Israel, and that's for people who want peace. And then everyone else can be in bloodbath hell for years. And then as you decide that you no longer want to live in bloodbath hell, you can come over to the correct side. The problem is, what will you have? You'll have a bunch of people claiming that they want to live in freedom and tolerance land and actually just want to go there to kill everyone else. And doesn't that suck? It's like, hey, we want nothing but death and bloodshed over here. And you say, okay, why don't you stay over there? And all the people who don't want that can be over here. But then all the people who want death and bloodshed are like, no, we want death and bloodshed everywhere. So we have to like pretend to want peace and tolerance, and we'll go over and sneak into your country where we can kill everybody there. And it's like, we understand if you just want to kill and slaughter people, but how about, I mean, could you just like, could all the people who want to kill and slaughter other people just like go and kill and slaughter each other? You have a bunch of different groups, and the world is a big place. So you can actually have plenty of different lands and countries and stuff where you can all just go and fight it out and kill and slaughter each other. Like, can't you like leave some places for people who don't want to do any of that? No, we have to kill and slaughter everyone everywhere. There can't be a place where people can go and not be killed and slaughtered.
That's a good point.
What are you doing with my hat, man?
What? What do you mean your hat? If they want Syria to be peaceful, they should just allow the Jews to run the country. Well, the thing is, that Jews want to get rid of the places that they already have, so it would be very, very difficult for them to also start running this. Hey, what is this, man? What is this, man? You copy my style. You copy my style. You copy my style.
I had this hat long before you had that hat.
I know. I just ordered it, and it's just arrived today. Don't ask me why I ordered it. Yes, Islam is what Islam does. It's not complicated, said Jesse. Powerful. Itinerary says, place review, feral philosophy, coming UK civil. Whoa. Who is feral philosophy? Feral philosophy. Is it like philosophy for feral people or something? Well,
yes, it's all for like wolf boys and stuff doing philosophy.
Oh, that makes sense. Just Call Me Cat says, David Wood and AP, what do you guys think about the Q source? David, what do you think about the Q source? What do your extensive biblical studies tell you?
It's it makes complete sense that there is some Q source. Well, for everyone who doesn't know, most people, down through history, look at Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, and so on.
What are you wearing, man?
Scholars break it down a little differently because they realize that there's some connection. They're called the synoptics, Matthew, Mark, Luke. There's some connection between them, and that they all are quoting some of the same material. The normal way of arranging it is Mark wrote his first, and then Luke and Matthew both incorporated large portions of Mark in their gospels. You say, why? Well, according to church tradition, Mark is actually writing down the testimony of Peter. So it makes sense. It makes sense within that context to say, okay, that we want to incorporate the testimony of Peter into our gospels. So you have Matthew and Luke using significant portions of the gospel of Mark in their gospels. But there are other things that Matthew and Luke are quoting, and they seem to be quoting the same source, similar to the way they were quoting Mark, but it's something else. And so, but it's something we don't have. We just have Matthew and Luke seem to be quoting the same thing on certain issues. And so scholars call that Q. And so it's hypothetical. It's hypothetical whether it was an actual like physical document that was circulating, was just, you know, we don't have it anymore, or if it was like an oral, just a collection of oral testimony. Multiple possibilities as far as the sort. Like some people think that you have like the Gospel of Matthew. Some people think that Matthew is actually just Q, not the Gospel of Matthew, but that Matthew that we call Matthew now was basically something that took Q, the Q source, and incorporated that with Mark and so on. So you have multiple possibilities, but at the end of the day, we just don't know. So, makes perfect sense that there was some sort of Q source. We can see why scholars claim that. Beyond that, we don't know much about it. We know some of the contents of this. We don't know if there was more in Q than what we have now, or if Matthew and Luke included all of it. We don't know who the source was. That's about it. But anyway, so one last thing about the Q source. It's some sort of sayings document. Like, Jesus went here and did this. Jesus went here and did that. Jesus went here and did this. Jesus went there and did that. It's very action based. Whereas Q is some sort of collection of sayings document. And that's part of the reason for at least suspect you don't have enough evidence to go on to make any sort of definitive statement. But part of the reason, if Q is a collection of Jesus sayings, it makes sense that someone's like writing down Jesus. It kind of makes sense that it would be someone like Matthew. If he's a tax collector, then he's used to taking notes on things and so on. So it kind of makes sense, but it's pretty darn speculative. Apart from Matthew and Luke seem to be quoting a common source. And what some of the contents of that source were, we don't know much beyond that. So I don't know.
I don't know why you're asking me what I think about the Q source, as if I'm like somebody who studied.
You should know Q is for Quella.
That's true.
See, it's a German name.
That's interesting.
You're German.
Wait, is that actually what that stands for?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny. I had no idea. That's funny. That's an interesting choice to make. PBUM, you made my day today, AP, with this news. Welcome to the cult. When is your next event to see you and Dawood in person? I become Christian again 2 years ago. Fantastic. I'm not sure when the next event will be. There's something soon that I was invited to, but I'm not sure if I'm going to go there, that you are probably going to as well. Some apologetics event or something.
Wait, you were invited? Wait, which one?
I was only informally.
Which country?
America.
Which one?
Apologetic con or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure I can actually go.
Oh, that's funny.
No,
you can't go to America.
Just a night nursing situation. Is,
I see.
Making travel different, and I'm traveling the week, which I can do occasionally. I can't do a lot because it puts a strain on my wife if she has to like stay up at nights and be up during the day and stuff. So I can do it occasionally for something important. But anyway, the week after ApologetiCon, I'm traveling, and the week after that, I'm traveling as well. So I'm going to a conference in California, and then going to a seminary to do some training.
You know what's funny? I'm going to go to. I'm going to be on Matt Fred's channel.
Ooh! He
In
break down Catholicism for you.
in a few weeks. He just.
He will humiliate you.
Here's the funny thing. I have. I bought some books. Among those books that I bought, I had just bought Matt Fred's book about understanding the Rosary, and I was just reading, and I thought this is really nice stuff, and I was just reading that, and I suddenly get contacted by Matt Fred, who is the author of the book. I'm like, what the heck? And I told him that as well, and he was very happy to hear that I was just reading his book. But he invited me, and I'm going to be there and to mostly talk about Islam, actually.
Yeah, it's actually. I did a show with him years ago, but he basically wanted to. He was quoting Thomas Aquinas and what Thomas Aquinas said about Islam, and he was asking me if that is correct. According what Thomas Aquinas was saying about Islam is actually correct about Islam. Let me see. what's that channel? Pints with Aquinas, right?
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
think
That's
the channel name is just Matt Fred right now, isn't it?
What, he changed it? Ah, what's wrong with that? Oh yeah. Hey, so yeah, he had me on there, and the title for anyone who wants to check it out is Muhammad was a false prophet with David Wood, Pints with Aquinas, episode 214, but it got 857,000 views. So anyway,
nice.
so some people watch his stuff.
Yep, he's got a good channel, good production stuff. Bring him young.
Oh no! Hey, matter of fact, I just saw a picture of him in like his new studio setup. So you'll be in his new studio setup, man.
Yeah.
You'll be one of the first people in his new awesome studio. By the way, when I saw that, I was like, that's like a studio that AP needs, so he can interview people all the time.
Exactly. Alhamdulillah. I thought I could add a new camera here, man. I was just I wanted to try something out while we're live, and then we'd probably make the live stream crash. That would be fantastic. But anyway, new name, Orthodox Prophet, formerly known as AP. Powerful. I could do something interesting. Like
OP. Hey, it's funny if you go by Orthodox Prophet, because then you're OP.
Oh yeah, beast.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if you know, but I think it's in the video game world that OP I think means overpowered.
I know that, David.
I'm just saying. I seem to recall that my kids saying, "Oh, it's too OP."
Or I could just use something like some humble bragging, something like apostate, penitent, or something like that. Luis Marquez, AP, Jesus loves you. That's the most important thing. Keep up the great work. Thank you. I appreciate it. Asa, that was a quick lesson in why you cannot coexist with these anti-everything people. And hello, boys. XX. Thank you, Asa. Thank you. Appreciate it. That is indeed a very, very quick lesson. Knows too much. Hezbollites lost so many balls. Egg prices went up. Ailbron says, if Brits kept their word and gave us Assyrians our land, there would be a Christian haven where even persecuted religious minorities would be safe. Yet they left us to get knifed, killed by Islamic Turks, Arabs, and Kurds. This is the problem. It's a big, big, big problem. Big problem. Jimmy the Jew from Philly. Zelensky brought a Nazi war criminal with him to Canada, and there's no way he didn't know what Hauptmannführer Juncker was. Symptom of a larger problem. Well, we talked about this before. Ukraine was being brutally oppressed by the Soviet Union when the Nazis came in and started fighting the Soviet Union, and then supposedly at first liberating Ukraine and then oppressing Ukraine as well. It's very, very complicated to place Ukrainian soldiers or Ukrainian fighters in the Second World War into a category of Nazi collaborator and non-Nazi collaborator. Very, very difficult stuff. And
it's still the same thing going on, and it's still the same thing right now. Like suppose Trump went and walked down the street with a Nazi war criminal right now. Therefore, the United States should be crushed by Putin. Like what? What?
You see?
What? Yeah. In other words, nothing anyone is saying at all persuades me that Putin is a good guy and that we should give him what he wants. Nothing. Not one word anyone is saying. Anyway.
Putin is not a good guy. Putin is not a good guy.
I had this camera forever, which I got to kind of use in case I ever want to show something that is on the table that I'm reading or something like that. I want to see if this actually works. Now, if the live stream suddenly crashes, then David will just take over and I'll just leave.
Wait, what am I doing?
Let's see.
You gonna switch to something?
If I add this now, this is funny.
This is what all your technology did for you.
This is very, very funny. That's it. This is all I can do with it. That's ridiculous.
No, you could just click on that one and make it its own thing.
I need to adjust some settings to make that happen.
Yeah, adjust the contrast and brightness and so on.
Interesting stuff. Huh. I got this weird camera for book camera. That's cool. I can just look what it says here. Look what it says right here. You see this? You see this here? Look at this. Look at what it says here right now. Look at this. Look at this. You see this? You see this right here, man? What does it say here? It says silver. pretty good.
Yeah, that's no, I want one of those. And we can both have our books on the screen. No, right there. Look how this is.
The funny thing is, there's this whole discussion again about the Schofield Bible came up. So I decided to just get myself a Schofield Bible just to make it match. Anyway, now that I know it works, everything's good. Okay, fantastic. All right. Arthur Morgan, AP, you literally compared Zelensky to Jesus. What? When did I do that? You mean because I shared a meme that somebody shared? That's not what that meme is, bro. That's not comparing Zelensky to Jesus. I know what you're talking about. Now I know what you're referring to. There was a meme mocking expectations of Zelensky to wear a suit, posted with the meme from behind the scenes on set where, you know, that famous meme. What is that? With Mel Gibson sitting with the actor who played Jesus, and the actor who played Jesus like all bloody, and so on. Meme. Let's see. Exactly here. This meme here. Somebody shared this meme here and joked about the situation that Zelensky would be expected to wear a suit to please everyone in the middle of a war like that. That's all I shared. When somebody shares a meme like this does not mean that that you're comparing the person here literally to the character of Jesus himself. It's just a meme. That's all it is.
No, memes are very serious.
That's that you misunderstood that, Arthur Morgan. That's not what I was doing. Fresh news. What's your or do you think that this guy is actually Jesus?
Yes, it's an actual photograph.
It's a real photo. It's been
It's a
colorized.
picture. I know it's him because it matches the movie Passion of the Christ.
Fresh news. What's your opinion on Tucker Carlson interviewing Qatar head of state? I made my opinion on that very clear. I would say. I just drew something instead of talking about it. David, what do you think about my drawing? Yeah.
Seems about right. Yeah, I don't think I've paid attention to Tucker until it's basically first strike was him going to Russia and like doing nothing but praising how awesome Russia is all day. Oh my God, they have escalators for the shopping carts. Why can't America be conquered by Putin? Oh my goodness, Putin should conquer all of us. It would be so great. We would have shopping carts with escalators. Ah! And look, did you know they have bread in the store? He acted like someone who's never been in a supermarket before and was shocked shocked by all the things that are there. But everything. He has this whole documentary about how great Russia is and how we should all want to be more like Russia. And it seemed deranged. And then right after that, he's got him glorifying Andrew Tate. And I was like, I'm not interested in watching anything this dude puts out anymore.
I mean, I saw one of the most disgusting thing that I remember that I immediately think of whenever somebody mentions Tucker Carlson is the footage of the behind the scenes footage of him arriving at Andrew Tate's compound, seeing Andrew Tate and then getting uncontrollably excited, like, like, are you freaking kidding me, man? What a imagine getting so excited because you stand before Andrew Tate. I wonder what happened behind the scenes when the cameras were off. Maybe he decided to get on his knees. Unique Petso, CMM sent lady to Syria to report massacre. Interesting. That makes sense. Soldier of Christ said, any plan to do more shows with Giant DOC? Really like your teamwork yesterday and Thursday. That should happen more often. That was pretty good.
There will be all kinds of shows with Giant DOC, ladies and gentlemen. Mark my words. There are going to be all kinds of shows with Jai and DOC. And they're actually perfect because my major like limitation is what's in like the Muslim commentaries and stuff that are not available in English or just in Arabic and stuff like that. And they know all that stuff. So it'll be a good team. But yeah, just so everyone knows, not sure whether it'll be every night or just several nights a week and stuff. But yeah, We'll be doing some shows with Jai and DOC, as in a lot of them.
Hey, I found it. Look, I'm not even making this up. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at his reaction here.
Foot over this line, it's back to jail. Tucker, a pleasure. Tristan Tate.
It's so
Real
nice to meet you.
Great to meet you too,
What a
man.
trip
I'm
this
a huge admirer.
Wow, man. This is like.
You're the famous one, bro. You're the famous one. Not me.
I've never been starstruck.
Okay, so where are the girls?
What the hell is it? What?
Where's the girls? I want some. And why is it like a requirement to always act like a fangirl around these guys?
Look at his reaction, man.
I can't believe it. I feel like I'm meeting Putin.
Who acts like this?
Yeah, around Andrew Tate, and I yeah, I get it. I mean, think who are you talking about? You're talking about. So what did he do? He was a kickboxer. So maybe you like kickboxers. Wow, that's great. Yeah, he's a kickboxer, but you know you wouldn't be fawning all over him like that. So then he got kicked off some show for when the beating video of him beating like a 15-year-old Vivian emerged. So he got in trouble over that, and then he becomes the porn king for a while. So he's the porn king, makes millions off of porn and casinos and so on. Then decides that he can actually train other people. All these people are like, how did you make all this money? And he's like, well, actually, I can make more money if I have a training course on how to pimp girls and take girls who just want a relationship and actually manipulate them over time into doing webcam stuff. And then you don't have to do anything except control these women, and they make you millions of dollars. So I can train other people to do this. So he puts out his entire PhD course. He doesn't realize everything he's describing is illegal. He doesn't know that, right? He thinks, oh yeah, if you're doing it on the street, it's illegal, but if you're doing it in here, it's perfectly fine. He eventually gets informed, hey, the government is investigating you because everything you're doing actually meets the definition of human trafficking. And then he rebrands himself a self-help guru, and it's just about his empowering message to young people. That's why he's being attacked by the Matrix. And that is like such an idiot. That is such an insanely idiotic cover-up. You think only the dumbest of the dumb would fall for this. But then you get some of the most popular journalists in the world. Oh my goodness, that's the great Andrew Tate, the great self-help genius of our time. Oh, he's the top J. Oh, I just peed myself. Oh, please. Oh, it's a good thing I'm wearing diapers because I peed myself when I was in the presence of Andrew Tate. Oh, this is the greatest day since I met Putin.
I would probably act like that if I had been separated by force from my parents when I was a little child, and then after 20 years I see my parents again for the first time. Maybe I would have reacted like that, the way he reacts to seeing Andrew Tate.
It reminds me of like a dog, like you're gone for a couple weeks and then you show up and like your dog will like lose its mind with joy that it's seeing you. That's what Tucker Carlson is like. That.
Yes, that's what my dog does.
And that's the point. It's like when I see that, it's like you're not someone I take seriously anymore. You just
he's a good doggy. Good dog.
He's just, hey, whatever I've seen of you over the years, some great monologues over the years and so on, some great videos over the years, very, very well-spoken guy. If I see you fawning like a little fangirl over Andrew Tate, it's done. I can no longer think of you as a serious person anymore.
It's over. It's over. Let me see. I've been fighting with Andrew Wilson here. Let's see what happens here. Let's see what he says.
You'll be humiliated by Andrew Wilson.
He said Christians should stop bitching about Tate. As long as Christians allow feminism and sewing circle lunatics to punish all forms of masculine expression. Please, man. In Christianity, men like Tate will reign. As long as the message is feminine only, Tate will beat you every time. Now, first of
who's advocating for feminine only?
I didn't even I didn't even express half of how dumb I think this tweet is. However, I responded to it and said Christians should stop bitching about an admitted rapist and sex traffic because feminism is at fault. LOL. He says, no, this is a very big oversimplification of what he says. However,
that does sound like the basic position he was advocating, right? Stop complaining about Andrew Tate because feminism is the real issue.
He says, "Is that my position? I would like to ask you if you want to debate this position, but let's be real. If you can't straw man, you aren't going to debate. If you can't straw man,
Yeah, you have to be able to straw man, or you
you,
won't
you,
debate.
you aren't going to debate. So what's the point?" I said call this simplifications. Here's his point again. Am I right here? You claim that allowing feminists and suing circles lunatics to punish masculine expression gives rise to Andrew Tate. That's exactly his position. That's exactly his position. That's exactly his position. Happy? Your conclusion that therefore Christians should not bitch about a horrible criminal is what is ridiculous. So his response to that is, sure, bitch away. What's ridiculous is you won't address the rot in the church. If you spent a second
What's this
addressing
got to do with
feminine
what's this got to do with
takeover,
anything? It's like
I might care more. You
what
don't
is
do
this like?
both. You do one.
Yeah, it's wait a minute. So
What?
if suppose whatever you're talking about with feminism is going on somewhere, that means that if a freaking sex trafficker is lying to a bunch of people about what he's done, that you should everyone should keep their mouth closed and let him get away with it. Like
Exactly.
I don't that is sorry, Andrew, that is like the most insanely dumb and, dare I say, effeminate thinking I've ever heard in my entire life. It's pretty
Imagine
gay.
some guy is going around and is actually actively raping and killing people,
Well, because what about the feminism? You don't addressing that.
and he's doing that by and justifying it, and then later on denying that he actually did that, and denying that he actually also admitted that. But he's also very, very famous because he has a very, very he has a message that appeals to brainless men. So what Andrew Wilson here is arguing is that we should not bitch about this serial rapist and serial killer because we created an environment in which masculine expression is punished by feminists, and therefore we shouldn't be bitching about the serial killer.
Yeah, Andrew, that is insanely stupid, ridiculous thinking that makes me apart from a couple of things, like, I saw a little clip with Matt Dillahunty and so on. I saw that massive to your credit, massively hilarious with your argument that Muhammad must have been under 2 inches and so on if your Muslim opponent was correct. Brilliant stuff. But hey, there's feminism around here, therefore if a sex trafficker is lying to cover up his crimes, therefore let him slide. Just doesn't make any sense. The world's a big place. We can talk about multiple things, Andrew. It's not, if there's this issue, therefore shut up about every issue. No, actually, we could talk about multiple issues. We can talk about multiple. You can complain about feminism, and we could talk about Andrew Tate, and someone else could talk about something. It's a big world. It's a big world. There are lots of people. Even Christians, we're a body. You can kind of focus on different things. It doesn't have to be until there's no feminism here. We have to let sex traffickers rape as much as possible. Kind of stupid.
This is also very funny. He says, wish this guy would ever actually debate me over any of his criticisms, but he never does. Straw man and run. The funny thing is,
would you be willing to debate Andrew Wilson on Andrew Tate?
Absolutely.
He just said it here. You heard it here, Andrew Wilson. Matter of fact, I'll moderate, dang it. And if you're wondering, no, APs, David and APs are friends. I am the fairest moderator in the history of humanity. I basically keep time and
the funny thing is that like this is why I have such a big problem with him, because I think that he's not a very honest person. He said this before, like several weeks ago. He was like, "Oh, but you never debate with anybody, you run." And then I asked him, who challenged me? What did I not accept? I don't understand. And he wasn't able to actually give me an example. Now here he is again saying, wish this guy would ever actually debate me, but he never does.
This is Andrew Wilson.
What are you talking about?
This is like Andrew Wilson sounding like Candace Owens. This is like Andrew. That's what Candace Owens just did, right? And everyone does this. And I will debate anyone on this. You say, okay, let's debate. No, Andrew Wilson, quit being like Candace Owens, man. Candace Owens says she's willing to debate, and then when AP agrees to debate her, then she acts like he never accepted her challenge. Don't be like that. You want to debate Andrew Tate and how people should react to Andrew Tate, and your claim would be people need to shut their mouths. AP agrees to debate you on that topic.
Yeah.
Clarify what you're talking about. What should the topic be? Should people keep their mouths shut about Andrew Tate or something like that? And then his position will be,
Yes, keep your mouth shut about Top G. He's my hero. He's a Muslim sex trafficker. He should be the hero of Christians everywhere against feminism.
Jake Rattlesnake has a good platform, so totally happy to do that.
There you go.
What's very funny is that Jake Shields, speaking of debate, Jake Shields, recently he was he was once again saying dumb stuff, and I said, how about we debate this? And he said, okay, come to Vegas. And I said, okay. So then he went quiet for a while. Eventually, actually, I haven't said this yet anywhere. I haven't posted about it at all. But eventually, he got back to me like yesterday or so. And no, 2 days ago, he got back to me. And what he actually said to me is that he needs 2 weeks to research.
I think he needs about 20 years to research.
He needs 2 weeks to research, which probably means that he's going to go to somebody
he's going to have someone write his stuff for him. And
and
then someone who goes through everything you've ever said and like, okay, here's responses to everything AP's ever said, just because you'll be able to tell. He'll be trying to read the stuff as he's going through the debate.
And what he also said is, and I also want this to be a 2-on-2 debate. And guess who he agreed to bring along with him?
Nick Fuentes or
no, even
Andrew
better.
Tate.
Even better.
Kanye?
No. Dan Bilzerian.
Oh no, I didn't even think he'd go, but that actually makes sense. He's sort of in the same ballpark of like total mental douche.
So I said, okay, I'm fine with that. I'm looking now for somebody else who will partner up with me, because the debate topic is actually the Holocaust.
So you can bring anyone you want, right?
I could.
Oh, get it. Yeah, bring a historian on there, man.
I know. I was thinking of getting somebody even better than a historian, but I don't know. I'll think on that a little bit.
Hey.
What?
Bring a Holocaust survivor on there with you. Tell him you don't even have to say anything. Just sit there in this entire time with these guys staring at you.
I wouldn't want to do that because of the malicious nature of these bastards.
That's what I mean. It would be apparent to everyone. These guys, this never happened. And here's someone who was freed from Auschwitz.
I know, but I wouldn't want them to treat an actual Holocaust survivor with this vile attitude.
Well, what you do is you have a couple of people and just say, hey, and I brought a couple of bodyguards along from the IDF. Brought a couple of bodyguards along just because you guys seem like you're hostile and stuff. And if they mouth off too much, you just have these guys just beat the crap out of them.
Yep.
What? Hey, watch Jake Shields. I heard you talk about me. The debate is off. Because he's looking for an excuse.
Yeah. Because people are pushing like, are you going to back out of this? No, I'm not going to back out of it. So let's see what happens. Don't worry, AP, you're the best mass debater. I know this is also why I do think I could just take them on 1-on-2, just me and the two of them. That would be like literally mass debating. And I think it would actually go very well. I don't even need a second person. I could mass debate with just on my own there. But we'll see. Soldier of Christ said, why are you grinning, man? Any plan to do more shows with Jai and DOC? Okay. Arimov says Jews always write down in their history and remember their heroes and foes. AP is a great man and will be remembered as righteous amongst the nations. I appreciate the sentiment, but I don't think I will be.
No, we will. We will not see AP buried beside Oskar Schindler. But I will make the case that he should be.
Actually, maybe now that you say that, maybe I should. Yeah,
that would be cool, right? If it's Oskar Schindler, apostate prophet.
Yeah.
He's buried. He's buried. Everyone is watching. He's buried at the Holocaust Memorial in Jerusalem. There.
Powerful. Prepare for the Mahdi. The last hour would not come unless the Muslims will fight against the Druze. Sheikh Ibn al-Waslayn.
That'd be funny if they started arguing that.
Yeah. Isaiah Wagner, Baptist Bougalou says, chrétien, si Allah n'est pas les vrais dieux, le pourquoi l'univers a-t-il commencé par une explosion? Good question. This is a very good question. Thank you. I have no idea what that means. So something with explosion and world and all that. Mumu Joe, seeing AP journey is such a beautiful thing. I think David Wood, Israel, and in some ways Judaism has more to do with your path, has some to do with your path to Jesus. Hope you will find peace. All of it does, yes. All of it does. All of it does. Jews do. Man, what's wrong with me? This is what I find so outrageous when people come to me and are like, "No, I think we're getting to the same boat, but you have to agree that Jews bad." No, no. On the contrary, this whole journey only made me appreciate and love Jews much, much more than I ever did before. And I think anyone who is not a Muslim, not an Islamist, and who has some hate for Jews and some weird preconceived prejudices and dumb accusations about Jews simply is ignorant or motivated by empty, dumb hate. There is no reason for anyone to hate Jews. In fact, I would say I have to thank my experience with Judaism and Jews a lot on my path that I'm experiencing and that I have experienced so far. And I don't regret it at all. Powerful. Saved. Earlier I saw someone say, stick to Islam, don't do politics. Is he right for saying that, though? It's usually what people say when they're like, oh, I don't agree with what you said here. Stick to Islam.
Yeah, we can kind of do what we want.
Yeah.
You don't control us. So that's our normal response.
Yes.
Look, if you talk about Lord of War, that's a video game, right?
Yes.
Okay. If you talk about that, hey, if we wanted to talk about that, we could talk about that.
God of War. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I can talk about whatever I want, man.
We'll
if you
talk
don't like
about
it,
whatever we want.
If you don't like it,
what a giant douche Putin is and all his little fangirls are, and how Andrew Tate is a douche, and as are his little fangirls, including Tucker Carlson and Candace. Oh, we could say any of that and not even mention Islam.
If you don't like it, then my soundboard isn't working right now. But normally it would say, get the hell out of here. Mumu Joe says, FYI, if during a journey you hit a Goiker sign or Candace, oh, please turn around, you're in the wrong path. Call WAF or David Wood.
Yep. And that's what Thomas Reed said. He said, if you're going along what looks like a path and so on, then, that's all fine. If all of a sudden you fall into a coal pit, you're probably on the wrong path.
Makes sense. Muslims don't need Epstein for underage victims, said Pamaram. This is true. They have Muhammad. Christina David, did you expect AP to become a Christian?
Yes. Oh, if you want me to elaborate, it's see, my experience with becoming a Christian. After I became a Christian, I was like, wow, look at how many
Rigo
things.
Barney says, thank you, David Wood and AP. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Said after I became a Christian, I looked back and I was like, oh, look at
17 says
when talking here, spit some knowledge. After I became a Christian, I was like, look at all these things that lined up that ended in me becoming a Christian. It's like, if this hadn't happened and I hadn't met this person at this time and hadn't read this book at that time and hadn't done this and that, like all these things lined up and then I became a Christian. So that's like built into my mind. It's like providence, right? It's like God knows what I need. And then I look back and all those things actually happened. Everything that was required actually happened along the way. So when I see someone like AP and then I see various things happening in his life, like the trip to Israel, like doing shows with Christians, like his wife becoming a Christian, so like all these things, that I was like, oh, okay, seems like all this is working together. So yes.
Interesting. One Shot A17 says, when Great Lent is over, I can't wait to make my artistic masterpiece, Allah spelled out with bacon strips.
That would be rude.
Pretty racist.
But spell it in Arabic.
Songs of Relief, best mumble rap from Muhammad's perspective I've ever heard. Behold, I cannot write one like you. You see, this is true. Thank you so much.
Hey, you should start doing that with all your songs. Say, I challenge Muslims to make a song better than this. And if they can't, they have to admit that this is the inspired music of God. But as soon as they try, just go, music is haram.
I also did the Quran in mumble rap. Let me see.
The Quran was made in mumble rap, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What is that? Skirt? Skirt. Skirt.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. What? Yeah. Maliki Yawm Ad-Din. Maliki Yawm Ad-Din. Let's go. Woo. Iyaka na'budu. Iyaka nasta'in.
Yeah, powerful stuff.
Hey, you know what that reminds me of? Just yesterday, we were on God Logic's channel, and we gave Muslims like what 3 or 4 hours to show us, to give us any case that Muhammad is actually a prophet, and we got scientific miracles and the perfect preservation of the Quran, like total nonsense that's been debunked already. So that was all easy. But then the only thing you got beyond that was, oh, I feel it in the power of the Quran when it's being recited, and I didn't get it. I was like, what? How does that work? And then but now that you play it in a song like that, now I get it.
That makes complete sense, man.
I get it. I felt the beat in my bones, and that made me think, oh, this must be from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Bones. Felt the new bones.
And just what I forgot to tell that dude. Because he's like, oh, when I hear the Quran being recited, it shows that it's true. There's some people who are like that. But I've mentioned it to you before, but Osama Dak, he says whenever he meets one of these people who's like, oh, the Quran, it sounds so beautiful. He says he meets Westerners. So, oh, but when I hear the Adhan, it sounds so beautiful. He says, oh, really, like this? And he starts reciting in Arabic to them. And they're like, yes, that's it. It's so beautiful. And he goes, yeah, I just said I want to saw off your head and drink the blood as it comes out of your neck and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, you're just an idiot who likes the sounds. You don't know what anyone is saying here. What a bunch of dopes, man.
This is true. This is very, very true. Very, very true. Alhamdulillah. I did make some. I did experiment with some stuff like anime music version of the Quran as well.
What do you make like 90,000 songs and then release like one every 5 years? Hey, you know what you should do? You should make like 100 songs and keep them on a file and say, I'm not going to release these songs until a jihadi kills me, and then these will be released one per week for years.
That's a good plan, man. That's a good plan. Putin supporters of the Quran on the Quran. I am kissing you, although I know that you are only a book. Had I not seen Putin kissing you, I would not have kissed you. This is a good reference. This is a good reference and makes sense considering that it was Putin, peace be upon him, who kissed the Quran.
Yeah, he was like, you must all kiss me, and I will kiss the Quran.
You see, and it was not just him kissing the Quran out of nowhere. It was him actually getting together with his boys, his Islamist boys.
Yeah, getting down on his knees and kissing the Quran.
Islamist boys, and then kissing the Quran there. The Islamist boys that he also employs to fight for him. The jihadists who also fight his wars for him. The Chechen jihadists, and kiss the Quran. Powerful, powerful, powerful. Chris DL Cruz, happy Ramadan. Is Islam cheap Catholicism? No, it's cheap
paganism.
Paganism. Yes. Vic the Red posted a cross. Alhamdulillah. Vish Taspa says, have you heard of Hassan Shamrani? He is ex-Shia Iranian, now a Sunni extremist. He is against the Shia government and a free Iran. Never heard of him.
I think that's some German dude.
Powerful.
One of those German dudes who's always screaming.
Powerful. Lex Yonis says, how does it feel to have been smoked by Robert Spencer on the existence of Muhammad?
Ha! Robert Spencer was humiliated.
Really? Govan says the moron Myron Gaines recently did a show with an all-star Jew-hating panel called The Noticing.
Hey, you guys should do your show on Myron Gaines' channel, your debate. Yeah. It'll be you, a historian, Dan Bilzerian, Jake Shields, bunch of OnlyFans girls with their boobies out, and hosting by Myron Gaines. You guys can debate whether the Holocaust occurred, and that's pretty much the internet in 2025 in a nutshell.
Alhamdulillah, that's what we do. That's what we do. Jack Ray James Bond had Q to source his gadgets. This is true. Carlo Magno, APN, David Wood. Was Muhammad a necrophile? Some sources suggest, if
Possibly.
you want to read it that way, I would say on a plain reading, I wouldn't go that route. But if you want to read it the way Muslims usually read other people's sources, you could totally read that into it.
Yeah. So those are that's the issue. It's very ambiguous as to what he was going down into the grave for. You can interpret it either way. So with that said, given all the other stuff he did, there's not much I would put past him, given like the sickness of his views. And so it's not a situation where you go, no, he wouldn't do that. It's like, that was my first reaction when I heard he had sex with a 9-year-old. Go, no, he wouldn't do that. Come on. And no, he would do that, and all kinds of messed up things that this guy would do. But yeah, as AP pointed out, if Muslims are going to so significantly, massively misread everyone else's sources and basically go to sources and say, it means the exact opposite of what it says, and then run around acting like they've proven their point by saying the opposite of what the text actually says, then it makes sense to just always insist upon the worst, most extreme interpretation of their sources, right? Like, hey, it says he went down into the grave to sleep with her. What's that mean? He went down there to sleep, or he went down in there to bang her? Well, we're just going to go with the banging interpretation because yeah. And keep in mind, let me put it this way. You have more evidence that Muhammad banged a corpse than you do for like Rebecca being 3 and all this other stuff they say.
That's a good point. Carol B, why do some idiots connect Islam and Catholicism? Is it from a chick tract?
It is absolutely from a chick tract. Yes. That was one of the things that popularized it. I'm saying that as someone who used to read chick tracts and thinks they're hilarious and stuff like that. But yes, that is what helped popularize the idea. Yes. Yes, how
did that come about?
Jack Chick was this like awesome artist who made like these little comic books, these little comic books. So they're not like normal tracts, which are just like folded up. They're actually like little booklets. Lots of them are like awesome and hilarious. The dude is legitimately hilarious. Like he has one called Allah Has No Son, and it's about this father and son, and the father and son see Muslims bowing down to pray in a Muslim country, and the kid goes, "What are they doing, Daddy?" And he goes, "Oh, they're just worshiping their moon god, son." But the dudes hear him, and like, dude runs over. He's like, "What? How could you say this? This is blasphemy!" And this guy spends the entire comic book explaining how Allah is the moon god, and then when he's getting to here's the hilarious part. As he's getting to the end, it said, even Muhammad himself will eventually bow down and say, and it shows a picture of Muhammad burning in hell saying Jesus is Lord, right? So anyway, that's a chick tract, which now, after decades of us doing things, now that wouldn't be so crazy. In the 1990s, having a comic of Muhammad burning in hell saying Jesus is Lord, pretty extreme. So that was Jack Chick. I used to hand those out in prison. It was hilarious. But yes, he has another track where, the Catholic Church created Islam, and that helped spread it. I mean, that helped spread the idea.
That's so stupid. That's so ridiculous. That is so freaking ridiculous. I have to see that, man. I have to see that. Is this it? Wait a minute. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Is this here it? Is this it?
Which one? That looks exactly like a chick track, yeah.
But Waraqua was a faithful Roman Catholic serving the Vatican. Right. He carefully guided Muhammad to give the Virgin Mary a place of prominence in the Quran, which would eventually form one of the most important links between Islam and the Vatican. When Muhammad declared himself a prophet, he cried, "There is no deity but Allah," and the faith of Islam began spreading like a fire.
Mm-hmm.
This is really stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to criticize and to depict how Islam comes into existence by Muhammad just being told things and making things up, but this is just a completely unfounded, ridiculously dumb link to make here, and it's baseless, entirely baseless, actually. There's that he was a Roman Catholic serving the Vatican.
Yeah. Like even like Waraka, a faithful Roman Catholic serving the Vatican. We know almost nothing about Waraka, except for that he was said to have been translating the gospel. So there's something. So he had some sort of background, most likely as some sort of like heretical Christian or something like that. Apart from that, we know nothing about this dude. And so, yes, he was a faithful Catholic serving the Vatican and under Vatican orders to establish a religion that will humiliate the kuffar.
This is all this needs is just an image of the Vatican, of the Pope going like,
yeah. Now,
man is coming to fruition.
Now, by the way, if I were part of this theory, I would be posting pictures left and right of like the Pope recently and stuff he's been doing and saying, and you see, we told you, we warned you.
But yeah, so this is a completely baseless story. This is a ridiculous story. The Catholic Church has nothing to do with Islam, had nothing to do with Islam. And some people drawing a parallel between Catholicism and Islam and that they are somehow similar is also incredibly ridiculous. It's just, there's nothing similar about them. Unless you want to say one religion with rules and the other religion with rules are both religions with rules, therefore they're the same thing. There'll be a ridiculous conclusion to draw.
No, the real basis for it was just you have it's like the situation with Israel. You have people, not nearly as much as there used to be, but 80s and 90s you had lots of Christians and evangelical Christian churches who was like the Antichrist is the Catholic Church and is going to be, the Catholic Church is going to be behind all the end time stuff, and the Catholic Church is going to be part of it. And therefore the tendency was anything else bad in the world, you blame the Catholic Church for it.
Well, that's stupid.
And so that was the tendency back in the day.
That's stupid. That's pretty dumb. Apophatics A. Thank you. I appreciate that. I agree. Christian theology and apologetics. Wait, AP, you're going to Apologetic Con in Sarasota, Florida? I'll be there too. It's just Elle told me about it, and she said you should totally come and all that. I don't even know when that is.
It's later this month.
She told me, but okay, yeah. I don't think I will, but just something that's in mind.
Apologetic Con is the 17th and 18th.
Alhamdulillah.
So that's 10 days away.
I don't think I will, but if I do, then I'll just say before that I'm going to be there. Did you see the comical news where Qatar is demanding that Israel give up their nukes? I saw it, yes. These terrorist funders sure do have audacity. Yeah, they should first give up their protection of Hamas terrorists and their funding of terrorists around the world. Then they can make demands.
Be nice.
MT, the EU made a statement supporting the Islamists. I saw just before going live that the EU made some statement. I don't know what they said, though. I don't know what they said. Spokesperson statement on latest developments in Syria. The European Union strongly condemns the recent attacks reportedly by pro-Assad elements on interim government forces in the coastal areas of Syria and all violence against civilians. Civilians have to be protected in all circumstances in full respect. Are you freaking kidding me? What? Is this the statement? Am I reading the right thing?
No.
Is this really what they did? Anybody please inform me that I'm not reading the right thing here. Is this really it?
European Union External Action, Diplomatic Service of the European Union, spokesperson statement on latest developments in Syria. That is today, March 8th, because they reversed the first two numbers, the European Union strongly condemns the recent attacks, reportedly by pro-Assad elements, on interim government forces in the coastal areas of Syria and all violence against civilians.
Jeez.
Civilians have to be protected in all circumstances in full respect of international... Wait, you're going after the Alawites who are being targeted?
Are these
What?
people freaking insane, man? So here it is, European External Action Service. The European Union strongly condemns the recent attacks reportedly by pro-Assad element. We have videos everywhere. And statements and news reports everywhere showing that the jihadists are the ones who are actually going from home to home and executing the pro-Assad elements, as much as I hate them, okay? Executing the pro-Assad elements at gunpoint and so on. What the hell? Who wrote this, man?
Fortunately, they are getting ratioed, apparently.
Yeah. The community note, the mass killing of Alawites, Christians, and minorities are committed by the anti-Assad groups, i.e. HTS, not by the pro-Assad groups. Man. Oh yeah, they're getting ratioed. Not too much, though. This is just a new level of sick. This is so ridiculous, man. They seriously made a statement after a whole day or after 2 days of massacres, condemning the wrong side. Man, insane. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. This is just ridiculous. Cole Craddock, y'all know whose y'all debate Con 6 opponent will be. There are some candidates. I can't say it for now. Can't say for now.
Yes, in theory, but it hasn't been confirmed yet, so I will wait for confirmation.
Powerful. Please, David Wood, run it back with Jay Smith. Same topic, says Sahih Christian.
No, I said I would debate this topic every week for the rest of my life.
This is what David says, but he's actually scared to debate Jay Smith because he knows he's going to get humiliated.
I will debate this topic, and I will even stick to using the principle of embarrassment to defend Muhammad's existence instead of going into anything else. Happy to do it.
Destroy Muhammad's existence. Bruce George, thank you, Bruce George. Christina says, who is the popular Dawa guy now? Seems like all of the regulars are drastically down in views. Who is the popular Dawa guy now, David? Seems like all the others are down in views. They don't last long.
They are going to be dropping off over time. I don't know. It's the same thing with like what case do they have for Muhammad now? I don't know. It's in the past, like at the time of like Ahmed Deedat and Zakir Naik, it took many years, decades to respond to these guys and so on, because they had huge audiences and so on, and you were struggling to get information out to those audiences back then. Whereas right now, it's way easier to quickly expose someone. So it's Dawa whack-a-mole right now, but these guys are getting whacked like moles.
Whack-a-mole, whack-a-mole, guacamole. Yeah. All right. Drew Traver says, Tucker, yeah, Tate, like my chocolates.
That's it. That is how he is.
Yeah.
Yay, cool. Tate like my chocolates. I brought him the best chocolates. Now he's going to make me one of the cool guys. I'm going to be a top G too. I'm going to start my own little webcam business and feel like a man. Look at my bow tie. Look at my bow tie.
Maybe you can put me on webcam.
Did you know that they have bread in Russia? Shopping carts. I'm about to wet myself.
It's so insane. I grew up in Germany with Aldi and all that, just all having those shopping carts that do these things where you put a coin in to get to once you return the shopping cart. This is like normal standard procedure. He went to Russia and he saw that apparently for the first time in his life, and he's like, "Whoa, look at this! Look, wow! Look what the things they have in Russia
has invented for the world." And they've got bread here. Imagine going to a supermarket and finding bread.
You see, the great Ezra is much greater than Allah. This is true. Warrior in the Word says top grifter. This is true. Mr. Krangus said, keep up the great, amazing work, gents. God bless.
So we
Thank you so
shall.
much. We shall do that. Tyler Loren says, AP a Christian, AP not a Christian, but ask yourself this. Why would a 7-foot-tall Wookiee live on Endor with tiny Ewoks? That does not make sense.
That was the South Park Johnny Cochran defense.
Ah.
Yeah. So they Johnny Cochran's defense in the OJ trial was, hey, let him try on the glove. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. And then on South Park, I didn't even see the episode. I just seen it in a YouTube clip. But he used his famous Wookiee defense. No matter what the topic was, he would just go on and say, what sense does it make that I have a 7-foot-tall on the same planet with these tiny Ewoks? It doesn't make sense. If it doesn't make sense, you must acquit. And that was it. But it's making fun of lawyers.
That's pretty good. Michael James, AP Sue circles lunatics and can't strawman. Yeah, I still don't get it. If you can't strawman, then how can you have a debate with me? Interesting objection. FLP 34, love you, AP and Dawood. Happy to be part of an actual live stream for a change. Came in late like AP. How do you know that I'm late?
Yeah,
how do you know that I come late if you never been here before? How do you know this, FLP?
Good point.
Earthen Mystique, what's up, Earthen Mystique? Said on the topic of the rosary, maybe also check out the prayer rule of the Theotokos. It's on my exploration list this month. I already have. It's a longer prayer rule that is kind of. I think the idea is that essentially the rosary and the prayer rule of the Theotokos were the same thing, or were kind of similar, and then we're kind of yeah, something like that. But I have checked it out. I just kind of I like certain things about the rosary because it brought me closer to Christian practices, and I also like this very heavy based thing that I ordered here. But I am getting into Orthodox practices, alhamdulillah. Michael James, AP mass debates guys like Andrew Wilson for breakfast. Shut up. Oh, man. Stubert, Reuters fact check. Zelensky's latest approval rating is 63%, not 4%, contrary to Trump's claim. Yeah, you don't even need Reuters for that. It's just, I don't know what his latest is. But here's the thing is that people don't understand, apparently, is that Zelensky is an actually elected president. So it's not just some guy who was put there and who just took over and just ran with it. He's somebody who was actually elected. And I think when he ran against his opponent, he received like 70% of the vote or something like that.
And I have to say, either one of those would not change my reasoning as far as Putin is concerned. If you said, hey, Zelensky's latest approval rating is 63%, or if it was 4%, I would still not want Ukraine being conquered by Putin. I don't want anyone being conquered by Putin. Putin would have to like invade North Korea before I'm like, okay, it's cool if he wins this one. Apart from that, guys, some of you didn't grow up during the Cold War where Russians were the bad guys. And now you bought into Russians, good guys.
That's interesting.
Well,
that's interesting. That is interesting. Let me see. Founding. Staff. All right. So here is what the Kiev Independent actually reports just yesterday, this month. Here is their report. If you want to have reports from, like, you have to decide whether you trust Ukrainians or not when you talk about Zelensky's approval rating. But here is what the latest poll, according to the Kiev Independent, actually is. Zelensky's approval rating jumps to 68% after Trump's clash. Poll shows.
Jumps. What? Thank you, President Trump.
You can see this all over social media with Ukrainians standing up and saying, "F you! How dare you treat our president like this?" and so on. Well, you have to decide if you actually. If you claim to be just against Zelensky, but for Ukrainians and their right to vote for whomever they like, or if you are against Zelensky and Ukrainians all together, because Ukrainians vastly in this situation stand with Zelensky, no matter if they were Zelensky supporters before the war or not. That's what the situation is. If you want to be like Bogul here and say, yes, Kiev independent, then you have to just outright say that you just don't like or you don't trust Ukrainians altogether. You have to make your station. You have to make your position clear here. Mrs. Mimo, how do I overcome the fear of eternity? David, how do Mrs. Mimo overcome the fear of eternity?
Trust in Jesus. Trust in Jesus. Boom. That's your answer.
That's it?
Yep.
Powerful.
Why would you fear eternity if you know the one who made it?
I never really had a whole thing of like much of a concern about afterlife and eternity and all that.
I didn't either.
I just don't. That's not what it is about to me. I don't know.
Well, they didn't ask you about you. They asked you, what do you do about fear of eternity?
Well, if I want to answer the question, then I also have to see how I feel about it in order to.
No one asked you about your feelings. That's a problem. You don't need to insert your feelings. You're like Tucker Carlson. Look, it's bread. Oh my God, this bread.
I can't give an answer to this if I cannot explore what I feel about it.
If you've never seen bread in a supermarket before.
I can only answer with my own experience and what I experienced.
Andrew Wilson was right about you.
So he's going to clip that. Son of a bitch, opinions on Rabbi Tovia Singer, especially his views on Islam being benign noach, basically meaning righteous. Did he actually say that Islam is benign noach? Because that would be very, very stupid. Because from my understanding and from my experience with or my studies so far, on what benign Noah would be the children of Noah, those who follow the 7 laws of Noah, the Noahites, who are not Jewish but who abide by the basic moral laws set upon all humanity. According to those laws, people are supposed to believe in the one God and then follow certain other laws like not murder, not engage in sexual immoralities, and the established courts of law, and so on. However, one of the conditions under which they usually accepted other people, non-Jews, as being righteous was that they don't create their own religions and their own organized system and their own theology, and so on. This would be... In the case of Islam, Islam did create its own thing. In fact, Islam created its own religion on a foundation of polytheism by adopting and stealing biblical things and twisting them. I would say that I don't see how that fits into any description of being righteous. It would be ridiculous. But I'm not sure if he actually said this. I would need to hear it from him. But
if there's a particular video where he's saying this sort of thing, I'd be happy to check it out. I've only ever seen like 2 things by Rabbi Tovia Singer, even though he's like the hero of Muslims because he attacks Christianity. It's always come across. It's always Muslims' love affair with Rabbi Tovia Singer has always come across like their love affair with Bart Ehrman, where it's like, yes, listen to Bart Ehrman. He says that the Bible contains variants. Yeah, that's not in dispute. But if you want us to take Ehrman seriously, he says that one of the best established facts of the ancient world is that Jesus died by crucifixion. You agree with that? Are we supposed to go to Ehrman? Because if we go to Bart Ehrman, we got to reject Islam because he says Islam is like hopelessly contradicts actual history. Same thing. Tovia Singer, you should listen. I get it from Muslims all the time. You should listen to Tovia Singer on Christianity. Okay, so does he agree that Jesus is the Messiah and that he's born of a virgin and performed all these miracles? Does he agree with that? Because that's what Islam teaches. In other words, if I listen to Rabbi Tovia Singer about Jesus, I have to reject Islam. So why do Muslims keep sending us to people who, if we believe them, we would have to reject Islam? Weird situation. With that said, yeah, if he said this about Islam, that would be interesting to know. I'd be interested in seeing that. So wait, you're affirming this other religion that says Jesus is the Messiah who is born of a virgin and he's the word of God and he's a spirit from God and he performed all these miracles and he's returning to break the cross and to kill all the pigs and so on. But he's going to actually impose the final stage of Sharia on the world, which how you think if you think Islam is true or something righteous about it, are you you approve of how things end for Jews in that story? Is that so? Yeah, I'd have to see it.
The thing is also that Tovia Singer worked for, I think, for most of his life or most of his ministry, if you can call it that, worked under Muslims or protected by a Muslim government, and then later on still with Muslim connections. And he has had since, probably because of that, very, very good relations with Muslims, and always abstained from criticizing Islam whenever he was asked about Islam related stuff, which in my opinion is just a very dishonest thing to do, and not, in my opinion, makes him somebody who is not reliable at all. When you see somebody simping for Islam, like I had the same position with you saw me here, I started blasting certain bishops and priests for sucking up to Islam and all that. It's just, if you do that kind of stuff, then how can I respect you as authority on anything, on religion related stuff? It's ridiculous. It's stupidly ridiculous. I'm not entirely sure what Tovia Singer said.
Okay, Rebbe,
all I can do is just rely on your word here. However, I'm kind of curious now. Let me have a look here.
Also, Noachide means that someone is a righteous Gentile. In Christianity, for example, I don't care, unless you're some, Episcopalian, left-wing, liberal, whatever. But in all Christian literature, if you don't believe in the tenets of Christianity, you're going to burn in hell forever. You can't be saved without being a Christian. Okay? It's very clear. But in Judaism, you don't have to convert to Judaism to be right by God. A person has to live by the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, which means the 7 Noachide laws. And they're not, contrary to what most people think, they're not individual laws, but they are, there's 7 categories of laws. It's very important. The central is to worship one God and no other. That's critical to be honest in business and not steal. And the answer to your question is that Islam is in a completely unique status in Judaism, in that it is highly regarded, as a pure monotheism. that Muslims worship one God only. Every Muslim says it every day. They say every day, there's no God but Allah, every day. And in fact, in the Quran, this is over and over again repeated, that there is no God but God. In fact, that's why Muslims are so sensitive about making pictures of Muhammad, even though the crazies, we all have crazies, so the crazies go and do all kinds of crazy things. But the reason is that they don't want that people should ever deify or think that Muhammad is anything more than a prophet.
No one deifies a man like Muslims do. No one. And the Muslims are going to go, oh, but Christian. No, guys, that's not even the view of in Christianity. God became a man. You didn't exalt some man to the status of God. That's what you do in Islam. I mean, I'm about to release a video about Lily J, where she took a passage about the Exodus, at the end of the Exodus, like the actual Exodus, not the book of Exodus. It's in the book of Deuteronomy, but Deuteronomy chapter 33. It's talking about Yahweh delivering the children of Israel from Egypt. And Lily J said, this is about Muhammad. It says Lord, all caps, meaning Yahweh. She says, this is Muhammad. This is Muhammad. And Muslims love it. Then she goes to another passage in Habakkuk, which says God did this. And she said, that's Muhammad. That's Muhammad. And they love her for it. I mean, the last video I made, she was calling Muhammad the Holy Spirit. And keep in mind, she's not inventing this stuff. She's been given a Dawa script. It's the same arguments that Ahmed Didat used to use. It's the same arguments that Zakir Naik used to use. They will take any passage about God in the Bible and say, this is Muhammad. But we're the pure monotheists of the world. Come on. Muhammad is the center of your entire religion. Muhammad is the sun, as in the sun in the sky. Muhammad is the sun, and everything else is revolving around him, including Allah. Everything else is revolving around him in Islam.
This is just this is what makes me think just so little and so lowly of people like Tovia Singer. Like when he sits there and gives his whole speech about how Islam is very, very strict about pure monotheism, and in fact they're so strict about it. They're so strict about it they almost explode thinking about the oneness. It's like it just, you're trying really hard to appease the Muslims, man. And the thing here is Tovia Singer's entire career here consists of one thing, which is that by all means do that, right? there are missionaries who try to convert Jews to Christianity, and I want to oppose that because that is not right by my religion. All right, okay, fantastic. Go ahead and do that. However, what kind of priorities are these, man?
Exactly. That's my thoughts. Exactly. Okay. Tovia, you've got one group over here who want to evangelize all Jews. They want to preach the gospel to all Jews and make a case that Jesus is the Messiah. That's what they want to do. The opposition wants to exterminate all Jews.
Yes.
And you're somehow saying, we got to worry about these preachers, so let's side with the guys who want to exterminate us forever. That makes sense. They'll help us because they're also going after the Christians. The Dawa guys, they're also going after the Christians. Yeah, they want to wipe us. The Dawa guys want to wipe us out, completely exterminate us, but they're helping us against the Christians who want to evangelize us.
I would totally love to have a discussion with this guy sometime and just ask him about some of these things, because it doesn't make sense to me that he would always spend so much time describing Islam as such a nice and such a cute thing. Those guys want to kill you. Then they say that you are the worst. They say you are worse than Christians. You are worse than all the others. You are absolutely horrible, and the ultimate plan is to come and kill you. And here you are, smooth talking the Muslims. Very, very retarded thing to do.
Hey,
what?
Hey, maybe. I mean, there's a million other things. There's a million other things to cover, but maybe our next show we'll actually go through Tovia Singer on Islam and see how well it matches up with the Muslim sources and whether it's a good idea.
Do that.
Should we do that? This would be a good time to do it. I don't know. There's other things going on in the world, but it seems like we have to cover it eventually.
We should do something like that. The good thing about Tovia Singer is that so I heard from some of the Jewish organizations that actually to keep themselves more busy with observing Judaism, that they don't really think very highly of Tovia Singer. And Tovia Singer also had in the past falling out with religious Jewish organizations and rabbis and all of that, not only because of his insistence of having anti-missionary activities, which is just something that Jews don't do. It's kind of weird. Gotop Ramadan Records. Isaiah Wagner, translation: if Allah isn't the true God, why did the universe begin with an explosion? That was
the French earlier. Yeah, I saw explosion on the end. So yeah, if Allah isn't the true God, why did the universe begin with an explosion? That should be.
Bully McGuire, AP, have you heard about Hamas Piker? I have. He's Hamas Piker. Toasted, heard Groyper's are blaming Jews for the attack. They blame everything. When they wake up too late in the morning, which is every morning, they blame the Jews. When they lose their socks, they blame the Jews. That's what they do. AP, did you see H3 banned for exposed Hamas Piker? What do you mean banned? You mean H3 banned? Banned from where? What are you talking about? Where were they banned? H3 podcast. Where were they banned? What are you talking about? I'm not sure what they were talking about. They were banned from. I have no idea. I don't follow that drama very much. Ram Ams, did you guys see Tucker go Qatar propagandist? Yes.
Tucker's aligning with. So who is it? Putin, Qatar, Tate. Wow.
Banned on Twitch for what? Exposing Hassan Piker. What do you mean expose? I'm not sure what he was banned for. I'm not really much familiar with those circles. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't follow that group.
Those peeps. Nate the 5'8" says, AP and DeWood, you're both legends, love your work.
That's true.
Appreciate it. STFU Bird says, it's actually Stu Bird, says, a big problem is that Trump and MAGA gets their news from Tucker Carlson, Lord Haha, who repeats the lies from RT. Yeah, Tucker Carlson is it's not somebody that you should be listening to for news. It's just, it's a very, very dumb thing to do. The guy is not a solid, reliable source of information. He is probably getting his funding from places that are not very, very much American, just like Candace. John, you guys should watch the rap music video More Than a Prophet, Stephen the Levite. for Connerly, Iv Connerly, read B verses. It's too many words. Not sure if I'm going to do that.
A lot of words there, man.
Jack, I was a revert Muslim but accepted Jesus yesterday. Really? That's powerful if true. Big if true. And he is David supposed to be celebrating and jumping up and down, but he doesn't even react.
If it's true, the angels rejoice.
Powerful. That's what we want to hear. AJ said, I lost all respect for Dana White. So sad to see.
To be fair, I didn't. So the complaint there is that he like hugged Tate and the Tate brothers when they showed up, as far as what I saw. With me, it's always in my mind, like, how much do you actually know? This could be a guy who knows absolutely nothing except Tate is like a controversial guy and he's been accused of some stuff, but he's been freed and been exonerated of all charges and so on. People can believe these. That's why you have to expose these. That's why you have to expose these lies, contrary to what Andrew Wilson says. He thinks we should just let them all slide. That's why you have to expose the lies. Is if you get enough people screaming, Tate has been vindicated, he's been freed, all the charges have been dropped because all the witnesses said that the prosecutors were lying about Tate, people can actually buy into this stuff. In which case, you'd say, oh, Dana White is ignorant of who he just hugged. He's ignorant about the actual facts. But I don't, that's not a horrible crime.
I don't know.
If he knows about Tate and knows that Tate knows the things that Tate has said over the years, and he's still like, yeah, we'll be buds. All right, then we got a problem.
I don't really know much about him except that he is just a guy with a big head. That's all.
Dana White?
Yeah.
He runs the UFC, man.
I know that.
Oh, okay. You said the only thing you knew is that he had a big head.
Well, okay, fair enough. I just don't know anything else about him, about what he says and does. So, Mrs. Mimo AP and Divi arguing like a married couple in eternity. Alhamdulillah. Here's a Syrian girl crying. Apparently, let me see. She posted a picture of this and made a huge text crying.
About what?
Syria. Let me see if she's actually crying.
Hi everyone, this is Syrian Girl. This
sounds
may
like
be
an
the
idiot.
most important video that I will ever make.
So dramatic.
This may be the most important video I will ever make.
I've already lost all interest.
Which isn't saying much. Did the Jews just nuke Syria? That's the big question on everyone's mind. Because there was an explosion, ladies and gentlemen. There was an explosion. And that makes me wonder, did the Jews just use a tactical nuke on Syria?
I lost
Look
all
at my
interest.
shirt.
I lost all interest. I'm not watching the rest.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm not watching the rest.
I need a better hook. You'd think that if you're preparing that, you'd think this is the most important video I've ever made in my life. You think that's a good hook at the beginning, because then people are going to be like, "Whoa,
hello,
but
everyone.
If everything we've
This
ever
is the
seen from
most
you,
important video I've ever made.
Hello, everyone.
No, I don't want to watch that.
Syrian girl, you just spent years blasting away at Israel and encouraging attacks against Israel, which depleted your side and allowed your side to be crushed by Sunni jihadis. You are part of the problem, and you're too stupid to realize it, and you're still whining about Jews. You have no basis for anyone taking you seriously. You're stupid.
You're too stupid to get it. Too stupid to get it. Too stupid to get it. I would sympathize with somebody at some point, until the point where I read something as horrible as where is that? Let me see. Where's that? As until I see something as horrible as her saying that the rape victims on October 7 are disease-infested hags. That's when I lose any kind of sympathy for this dumb-sounding and horrible person here. When I see something like this, Gadsad says Israel is bombing Gaza today because Jews are inherently genocidal, or Hamas slaughtered and raped 1,400 Israelis on October 7. And Syrian Girl's response to that is, The fact that they want us to believe that anyone would have the desire to rape those disease-infested hags is what irks me the most.
Yeah. Yeah, jihadis don't want to go around raping
Like
Jewish
this
girls.
person is now crying and asking for sympathy. I mean, go.
Don't say it.
Go. Go away.
That's the funny thing about Syrian girl. I mean, she's living her life is a complete nightmare right now, right? She thought, hey, I'm making a difference on Twitter, and by constantly saying like everything she wants to happen in the world, the opposite is happening. And so you don't need to blast Syrian girl. She's living a nightmare right now.
Yep, she is reaping what she sow.
Mm-hmm.
Ali is love you guys. Stay safe. We love you too. Christina says, David Wood, do you believe that progressive Muslims just ignore violence like we see in Syria? Seems like it would cause an identity crisis to see this behavior on repeat by your religious family.
Not really interested in the progressive Muslims.
Here's David.
Regardless, wrong.
What is this, man?
Wrong.
What is this?
It's basically they're a smokescreen in the West to keep. Not talking about their intentions. I'm talking about what they're actually used for. They're basically the Islamic version of useful idiots for Islam. When Islam takes over an area, all those progressive Christians suddenly disappear. Either because those progressive Muslims, either because they were faking, or they have to change real quick, or they'll be targeted too. And so they're basically only useful as a temporary smokescreen.
Look at this stupidity here, man. Well, we just talked about this. Syrian girl is posting this. Breaking: Netanyahu has takes credit for Al Qaeda.
Really, he takes it.
Syria's collapse was made possible by Israel's weakening the axis by Israel.
That's true.
Cool, Syrian girl. Who started this?
We just started this. We just said it too, Syrian girl.
Who started it, Syrian girl? Yeah. Who started it?
Yeah, think of you giant idiot, you giant walking clown emoji. Look at what are you saying and what are we saying? You're saying, you're putting this forward as Israel plotted. Ha, we will plot the takeover. You see, the Jews are behind this. No, it's your idiots. Hey, this is a good time to attack the Jews. Let's attack the Jews. So you go and attack the Jews. They blow all your testicles off. The Sunni jihadis say, wow, Hezbollah just got its testicles blown off. They're not going to put up much of a fight now. And they go down there and Hezbollah can no longer be called upon as reinforcements. And you guys lose. Yes. Israel weakening the Axis helped the Sunni jihadis take over Syria. That was your decision, you giant idiot, and you were cheering for it the entire time. You were cheering for Hezbollah and Iran and everyone to attack Israel. You were cheering on your own destruction, and now you're complaining about it, you idiot. You stupid idiot. In other words, let me put it differently. If people like you had not thought that it was a great idea for Hezbollah and Iran and everyone to attack Israel, Assad would still be in power. Assad would be in power right now. This would not be happening if it weren't for idiots like you. You stupid moron. Imbecile.
Assad as it is, it's your fault. You relied on Putin, now you have been put in your place. Queen Hyena says, yesterday I had my monthly ketamine infusion for PTSD and chronic pain. AP, thanks for showing up during this trip into my subconscious. Very interesting to see you there alongside Deadpool.
Funny.
Captain Deadpool. That's very good. I like that. I like what happened there. Hope you're doing well. Queen Hyena. The layman, Tovia Singer is a bad faith debater. Hey, Cindy. He's indeed. Alhamdulillah. Let me see.
I don't buy your Ella.
Okay. I just need to install these on my device now. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Muslim.
Oh, Muslim.
You're finished already. Look at me. coming. You know you're done.
Good. Gonna make that work. Gonna make that work, man. Gonna wake that merc. Make that
Gonna
merc.
wake that merc.
Gonna wake that merc.
You gotta wake that merc. Wake that merc.
Wake that merc, man.
Wake that merc. Wake that merc.
Whatever that is.
Well, no, someone was just talking about Deadpool, and he's called the merc with the mouth, and so, if he wakes up, it would be waking the merc.
Gotta wake that merc, man.
Gotta wake that merc.
Wake that merc. All right, David. Anything else? What are we doing tomorrow?
We could go through some Tovia Singer clips. I just looked because I never paid attention, but when I was looking for that clip, and I just typed in Tovia Singer Islam, but he's got a million videos about Islam, tons of them.
Wants to lie and say that the Jews are genocidaires. And don't try to cancel.
What was that?
A clip that I cut of Cenk Uygur saying, "Shut up, you bigot!" But
classic Cenk.
There's too much shouting. It's not good. So that's what we're doing tomorrow.
That will be the tentative plan. It's always possible that by the time I set up my live stream at like 6 a.m, that there's some breaking story or I've come across something super interesting. But yeah, that tentatively we will go through some Tovia Singer talking about Islam clips tomorrow and see how they line up.
Why stuttering?
I'm not stuttering.
It's good we've got our sound effects back, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Wonderful. All right, man. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow on David Wood's channel. Where we will look into Tobias Singer and different things. Until then, there's so much to find out. So much to find out. Bismillah.
Open your eyes, bro. Signs been lying.
Earth so flat, no curve. Mountains keep it firm. Sun go down, then swerve. Dips in a pool, confirmed. A sky like a tent, don't crack. Stars just lamps, that's facts. Devils get hit, they track. Meteor showers, nah, that's cap.
Earth don't spin, don't move. Sun on a path that groove. Rises up, then dips real smooth. NASA fake, they trying to confuse.
A sperm comes straight from the back. Balls form first and fat. Rain come down, no cap. From the sky, cause it's stacked like that.
Moon got light, not just a fake.
It's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. We will be here once again tomorrow on Dawood's channel. Until then, as always. Where'd my book go? As always. For those who don't speak the language of the goats, here it is one more time, with its English translation delivered directly by the goat himself.
Stay away from Islam.